Hello and welcome to This Is. Big tech companies sometimes bring out good products, but sometimes
The Magic Mouse?
they fail miserably. What we're going to do is we're going to look at a big list of big products from big companies that were big fails. Moving on to the first one.
The Amazon Fire Phone. So I did a video on the Fire Phone back in 2014 when this came out. They brought this out as an AT&T exclusive for $650 or $200 on contract, which was the same price as like an iPhone. They were trying to make this like a proper real thing. It had 3D and not like that BS stuff that you had on the 3DS. It had 4 cameras on each corner, which were staring at you all the time, live streaming each angle of your face to Bezos's personal island in the middle of the Bahamas.
These things, it was terrible. And it only sold 35,000 units total.
They probably put like an order in for 100,000 and then they like shredded the rest of them and it turned into confetti on Jeff Bezos's private grotto in...
I'll say they went out to the desert and buried them next to all the ET Atari cartridges. Google Glass. Do you ever wish you could just get punched in the face for being a nerd?
Hey, glass hole!
Have you ever wanted to cosplay as Vegeta without any of the cool stuff?
It's over!
$9,000.
$1,500! Google Glass was good.
Oh my God.
Think about it. While admittedly a little goofy, but the idea was sound. We're, what, 8 years on? And we're just getting closer to a proper version of this shipping with some kind of like Apple headset or whatever the case is. But like this was ahead of its time. Now, to be fair, using Google Glass was a fairly basic experience. It did have a camera, which ultimately was a bad idea on something that lived on your face as you walk into, oh, I don't know, a bathroom.
Yeah, like that. There's a whole lot of legal issues that went around with having a recording device, you know, on your face. It was just like, oh, people see you with this, and they're like, oh, you're recording me. Because that happens anyway with a smartphone. If you're holding your phone up like this, like, why are you recording me?
Yeah.
It looked dumb. It had a small battery.
I thought it looked cool.
Oh my God.
It looked cool.
You're a glass hole. All right. The Samsung Galaxy Note 7. This had the distinction of also doubling as a bomb. There was a recall of these, and the recall was turbulent on its own because these things were blowing up in people's pockets. They started doing like a voluntary recall, and then they started to like forced patch updates. So like, oh, it will only charge to 80%.
They were trying to kill these phones remotely, basically. No, there were years where every time you got on a plane, they're like, hey, you have a Samsung Galaxy Note 7, you're not allowed. And of course, flight attendants aren't exactly the people who are going to know, oh, is that a Note 6? Note 7? Like, it was such a mess for so long.
This was a pretty big note in Samsung's history.
If you just think about the scandal and the drama of this happening, how it was all anyone could talk about with Samsung, and yet 2-3 years later, completely forgotten, it does really say that the internet has a short memory.
Yeah, they really do. You know what else is a short memory? What are we doing?
Wait, what was that? Oh, the Apple Hockey Puck Mouse. Okay, so Apple has a, how should I put it? A controversial opinion on input devices.
Yeah.
Now, they make the best touchpads in the business for well over a decade, but no one let Johnny Ive near a fucking mouse, please. The Magic Mouse is probably what I think most people think of today, because that's the mouse that they've been selling for like, what, 10 plus years? Like, it's been around forever.
And it still has the same design flaw that everyone loves to meme.
Awful. But the Hockey Puck Mouse was even worse in some ways, because this is back when Apple was like, right click? Who needs a right click? You just need click. Also, how about your hand being shaped like this? Is this just the way you're yes. Activate. Mr. Steve Jobs. I will say though, the aesthetic of this is really on point. And honestly, I'm gonna say this on camera, so it's immortalized forever. I want to take an old iMac and load up modern specs in it and use it. Quinn, if you're watching this, let's put an M1 or M2 MacBook like motherboard and battery and stuff in one of the old iBooks, or let's take the spec of a Mac Mini and put it in an iMac G3. Let's do it. The Wii U! Wii U, Wii U, Wii U, Wii U. That's the sound of the ambulance coming because this thing was dead very quickly. In a lot of ways, I think the Wii U was the prototype for the Switch because they knew that they wanted a tablet-y thing. If you think about how far we went from the Wii U to 5 years later with the Switch, the fact that you needed the console and the huge gamepad, 5 years later, the console was gone, the gamepad was a fraction of the size and more powerful, goes to say a lot about how the Wii U was a little too early for its time.
Actually,
okay.
You like to defend Nintendo a lot. I don't. So many things that Nintendo does it would say, here's our gimmick.
Yep.
2-3 things would take advantage of it.
Yep.
And then nothing would ever take advantage of it ever again.
Well, you could play games on the gamepad, so it would wirelessly
As long as you were
stream it.
10 feet away from it.
That's true.
Like,
That is
you
true.
know, like, it's not like you could take it to the other room. They love to put out these gimmicks.
Yeah.
And then, again, no one knew that this was a new system.
Oh, I
Fun
get
fact
the
about
gamepad.
the Wii U.
Okay.
Did you know what the U stood for useless?
Okay.
Ah.
The Apple Newton.
Wait, was this a failure?
Yeah. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, look, the Apple Newton had good things to it. This was essentially the world's first PDA. So it had a lot of stuff. It had handwriting recognition, which, while admittedly not good, but 30-year ago tech actually was decent. And on top of that, it was a very, very reasonable price. You wanna know how much it was, Matt? $900, which is almost $1,900 in 2022 money. It was kind of like the first iPad in a lot of ways, right? Like, it had a black and white screen. It had a resistive touch screen with the stylus that came with it and everything.
This was no Steve Jobs, right?
Yeah, so this was...
This is the Dark Ages?
I think, and correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but if I recall correctly, when Steve Jobs came back to Apple, he's like, "What are you doing? Kill this immediately." Which, fair.
I liked it. I was a PDA boy.
Public display of affection. Oh, it's so public. What a great reason to subscribe for PDAs with your pals Austin and Matt.
The Galaxy Home.
No. No one
you-
called it the Galaxy Home. The Bixby speaker.
Do you wish you had a Namekian spaceship from Dragon Ball Z telling you what the weather is? Well, we got the product for you.
Is it as good as Siri?
No,
How about Google? Is it as good as Google?
not even close.
How about Cortana? Is it as good as Cortana?
Nope.
Is it Bixby?
It is Bixby.
Okay, cool. This is one of those famous things that was announced to a lot of fanfare and quite literally never showed up. I remember Marquez would tweet every time there's a Samsung event. Did the Bixby speaker
Yeah.
get announced? Nope.
It just kept getting delayed.
No one likes Bixby.
Yeah.
No one likes Bixby.
But
And
also, this is just ugly.
we did the video trying to buy all the Samsung products, and we
Yes,
tried to use Bixby
yeah.
for everything together. It was not good.
I think it's because all the Bixby speakers just kind of skittered away. Look,
They all
this
just,
is
they're just a bunch of little guys that just walked
just-
away.
Every time you turn on the lights really fast, they skitter away.
No, checks out.
This was dumb.
This
Moving
was
on.
dumb. The Nexus Q. Okay. I'm excited about this one.
I'm with you on this one. I actually love this thing.
This was great. Okay, so for context, this was released in 2012. This is where every time you went to Google I/O, you were coming home with something, right? And they gave everyone who attended a free Nexus Q. Now, what, you might ask, is a Nexus Q? Well, it was a Wi-Fi speaker. I think it actually had some video out as well. Before it actually shipped, Google were like, what the hell are we doing? They canceled the project. However, everyone who had pre-ordered the Nexus Q got theirs for free. I know that this was a thumbnail for one of my big tech fail videos from 8-9 years ago, but I don't think I actually had ever gotten my hands on one because I wasn't cool enough to
For the
go to
record,
Google
it did
I/O.
not sound good.
This is back when Google were doing all kinds of weird Nexus stuff. Thankfully, they got their act together and have since never canceled a project or fumbled a product ever again.
Ever. Amazon Dash
We
buttons.
have these.
They would cost you $5 to get them. However, when you got them, you get a $5 credit on your Amazon account, so it's free. You do it through the Amazon app, but it was Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
And so essentially what it was, I'm out of laundry detergent. Boop. Press a button. But the problem is, one, if you just kept pressing the button, it would actually start a queue.
Oh, for their monthly delivery or whatever?
Yeah. I know my sister, when she first came over, and she's like, "Oh, what is this?" And then I look at my Amazon cart. It's upcoming purchases
$700 of Tide detergent coming your way.
And then these were ruled illegal in Germany because I don't know if you ever seen when there's a new product, a new version of a product on Amazon or whatever. But you kind of had to relink it to a new version, whatever, because you might think I'm buying a $20 thing of Tide.
Nope.
But this this seller is now doing it for $40.
And you just bought $40 worth of Tide.
Where it's when you go on the actual website, it's from these sellers, here's the cheapest price. That was a big problem with these things. I really like these, but there was a lot of flaws to them, and now they are completely not useful at all.
Tide, if you're watching, hit us up. Procter & Gamble, we're a big fan of all your many wonderful products.
They make delicious products.
The Zoom!
No!
The Zoom!
No!
Are you
Okay.
too cool for an iPod?
This is one of those products that there's no reason that this failed.
Wait.
Other than people's perception of the product.
Hold on. Please elaborate. You think this should have been a success?
Yeah.
It came out 5 years after the iPod.
Cool.
1 year before the iPhone, which obviously was the biggest.
There was a lot of people who wanted to keep their phone and music player separate because remember the iPhone didn't have when the iPhone came out, it didn't have great apps.
4 and 8 gigs of storage.
Right, like this
sure.
Yeah, sure. But this didn't even compete with other MP3 players. It was too premium.
It was expensive.
Yeah, so it couldn't compete with the smaller SanDisk ones or Creative. This was a really good product. You're right. It was too late to compete with the iPod.
Yeah.
But then too premium to compete with the lower end market.
I mean, it's classic Microsoft, right? I feel like it took way too long to come to market.
It was a really good device.
This was a good idea, right? Microsoft had a lot of good ideas. And while we're just talking about Zune generally, the Zune HD, I will maintain, still had some of the nicest hardware of any of these things.
And
OLED screen, it was so good.
This is a tragedy that this was a failure. Tragedy?
It's a good word.
Just defeat.
Kinsey, say cap right now. Say cap right now. Google Barge. For reference, our wonderful producer Kinsey, who puts together all of these wonderful
things.
Just say
producer.
Can you please take this one away? Because I have no idea what the hell you're talking about.
In 2013, Google launched some barges in various ports in the United States. Everyone at that time was like, ooh, what could these barges be? Is it going to be like a Google Glass store? Is it going to be a data center?
Was this just Larry and Sergey just partying on barges and just writing off as a Google expense?
So there was some conspiracy theories. These were unhackable data centers because they were they weren't connected to the mainland. There was some that these were prisons. Well, because Google's really secretive about these. And so they basically said they were exploring using the San Francisco barge as an interactive space for people to learn about new technology. The conspiracy theory was if they want to do their Black Mirror shit, they could put people on the barge and go out to international waters and basically just
You use Squid Games if you're in international waters?
Yes, technically. We don't really know what these were. And then they just disappeared.
Well, just like our thoughts, dreams, and data have gone out to sea, I think we have to say goodbye to the Google Barge because they are sadly no longer with us, or more likely, too well camouflaged for us to notice. And all the bad
They're trying
Googlers,
to make their own sea land. If Google put this out to international waters and they had their own little island, they had Google Nation, they didn't have to comply with any type of data laws.
It's
It's
a good idea. You should pitch that. They should do that.
Google, hit me up.
Steam machines!
Oh my, okay. I kind of forgot that these were a thing.
I didn't. Here's the thing. This was really founded because of Windows 8. Windows 8 was when Microsoft really started putting emphasis on the App Store. And Gaben and crew got a little nervous because their whole business model was taking 30% of those sweet Steam games that you were buying. And when you couldn't take advantage of that, you were then forced to, oh no, Steam, we can't buy our games on Steam. We have to actually buy them from Microsoft. They were terrified of this. So instead, they're like, middle finger, Microsoft. Goodbye. We are now going to enable SteamOS to take over the world. If you want to build a game PC, you could license Windows and pay $100 a license or whatever, or you could get it for free, and in fact, Valve would help you with marketing. They were relatively underpowered. They're also trying to be relatively cheap to compete with the PS4 and the Xbox One.
I don't really remember too many of the actual onboard consoles. But
Because no one bought them.
yeah, I mean, that's, I guess, why it's on this list of big tech fails.
But if the Steam machines didn't exist, SteamOS wouldn't exist, and the Steam Deck probably would have never, ever crawled out of the primordial ooze to surprise and delight gamers who have big chungus hands.
Sony Betamax.
What?
Despite Sony marketing that this was the superior format, VHS and VCRs were largely more affordable, more popular, and you know what? I gotta bring this out. Do you know why VHS ultimately won?
Yeah, I watched The Naked Director.
Yeah, pornography. Whatever format is cheaper to put out, pornography is going to back it, and that's going to be the one that people buy because everyone's got to have their pornography.
Can you just stop saying that word sometimes?
It's a fun word to say.
It is, but you've said it at times.
The
photography doesn't quite have the same ring to it.
No, because it's a soft P there. Now this one's a hard P. It's pornography.
Okay, we can just stop with the soft and the hard P.
Yeah.
That's a little over the top. Okay.
Don't let your kids watch it.
It's actually funny though because Betamax was successful in the actual pro video area. So
nerds?
Yeah.
Who cares about what nerds think?
Well, you recorded on Betamax. This is early digital video.
So film your Betamax.
Yeah, and
then you water it down to VHS.
Yeah, distribute it. Ugh. So
disgusting.
It was,
Aaron definitely just cut down as if we didn't have a 15-minute conversation about the relative benefits of Betamax and why ultimately that's the reason why you need to subscribe and ring-a-ling the ding-a-ling button. And importantly, tell your weird Uncle Joe that Betamax was in fact the right call. Link him to this video. He'll be really pleased. And you can ask him to subscribe too. Okay, honorable mention time. Don't go
we have
anywhere.
an honorable mention. All I want for Xmas is a PSP.
What?
In 2007, Sony hired an ad firm called Zipatoni.
No. Say
And
cap
ma-
right now. Say cap right now.
Zipatoni. And they made a fake blog that was all I want for Xmas is a PSP.com.
No one would ever pick that domain.
And then they recorded this video of this 30-year-old man pretending to be 12 and rapping for a PSP.
Do you have that video? Can we play
I
it?
do. I have it linked here.
Oh my God.
This is why we don't have PSPs anymore.
This is the reason.
Sony paid for this.
Not only did they pay for it, some Sony executive goes, yup. Of all the fails that we've seen so far, this honorable mention is the biggest.
Oh God, stop! Why is he doing the ladder? Why is Pete Davidson trying to breakdance for me right now?
This is...
We've gone completely off the rails today.
Hello and welcome to This Is. Today we're going to try and guess what some first products are from your big famous companies. And we are going to try and guess what their very first product was. And we also are going to try and guess what year that was.
But you know what I'm going to tell you right now? I'm going to be deadly serious. I'm going to get competitive. I'm
Okay.
getting serious. I'm getting serious right now.
All right, moving on to the first product, Sony.
Oh God. Okay, so I do know this. I know this one. I believe Sony was founded in like the I want to say in the 50s. Obviously, Japan had like this massive spurt of growth, which there's a wonderful Denki video all about the Electric Town. Part of the reason why I actually know the answer to this.
Oh, that's not fair. I
I'm
don't
sorry.
watch Danky.
That sounds like your problem. I don't know the year, but I could take a guess. I already told you it was thinking the 50s. But if you want to,
I'm going to say a toaster
okay.
from 1948.
All right, I'm going to say a rice cooker from the year 1952.
A transistor radio.
Wait.
Did you just put this on here because it's so green?
I will say this thing looks retro and awesome.
Well,
so
it's not retro when it came out in the 50s.
I think on the year I was closer, correct?
Yeah, you get the point. for
1
that.
point. And I'm going to say I'm not going to claim an extra half point, but in spirit, I think I have an extra. Just a little.
We don't do half points here.
You make up the rules all the
I
time.
should get 3 points for you
Nope.
trying to.
Incorrect. All right. Nintendo.
I do know this one.
Go for it.
It's a deck of playing cards, and that was in 1948.
Okay. I think it's like 1887.
18?
It is. I'm
okay.
pretty confident it's in the 1800s.
Time's not real.
It's a long time ago.
Time's not real. Okay.
1889. Yep.
Okay.
The Hanafuda cards.
I would say 2 points for Austin, 1 for Matt.
Wait, has Matt get a point? Oh,
I
okay.
gotta-
You got, okay, we'll go
the product,
Sorry. I forgot. Okay, that's fine. So is that a tally of 3 for Austin and 1 for Matt right now?
Yes.
Do we really need the recap on
We do.
the second one?
We do. Just to refresh everyone on Austin being a big brain individual. So big brained that I'm going to tell you to subscribe and ring-a-ling the ding-a-ling button for absolute dominance of the This Is game shows. Yeah, you heard me right. Dominance. All right. Samsung. Okay, now I will say I know a little about Samsung because I actually watched an excellent Wendover production video. Look, I'm a nerd, okay? I watched an excellent Wendover Productions video on essentially how Samsung has become such a dominant part of South Korea's economy and whatnot. Highly worth checking out, by the way. Really, really interesting video.
This is where it's gonna be exposed that I know nothing about anything.
Wow. The tables have turned.
I know they make tanks.
They do. That was not their first product, I will tell you that.
I'm gonna say a toaster from 1948.
I'm gonna say 1935 is the year. I'm gonna say it's radio. I don't remember. I should know this. The knowledge is in my brain. I can't unlock it. Oh, okay. That was a little bit off.
Okay, they start as a grocery store with dried fish, vegetables, and noodles in 1938. So you get the point for that.
They were doing that before,
Yeah.
but they had built up a reputation. They had built up the company. So after the Korean War, when everything was kind of really taking off with the Korean economy, Samsung were perfectly positioned to absolutely explode, which is a big reason why Samsung, they don't just make phones. They don't just make washing machines. If you look at the pie chart of what Samsung does, it is incredible. It's like a ridiculous figure of like South Korea's GDP is just Samsung, like
Right.
one company. Like it is wild.
Sega.
Oh no. I don't know if I know this one, Matt. I mean, obviously some of the first like actual proper hardware you could buy from Sega. It was like the Master System, which would have been like mid 80s or so. I want to say they had a part in arcades in the 70s.
They definitely did.
I'm gonna make a guess that they made like pinball machines or some kind of like amusement-y kind of things. I'm just gonna throw a guess out there. They were founded in like 1965.
I'm gonna say board games of just like, I don't know a better way to describe what I think they made, and I'm gonna go 1930s.
1930s.
Yeah.
Whoa.
I'm gonna say 35.
Coin-operated
operated-
slot
okay.
machine. Oh, service games. I know the story. Ah.
So yeah, like this is a story I definitely knew. I just didn't realize this was their first product.
Basically, the story is that in 1946, Service Games, SEGA,
Yeah.
was actually established in Hawaii. They were creating slot machines for the U.S. sort of military and whatnot. But in 1952, they actually banned slot machines, which meant that they moved over to the military bases in Japan. They did some dissolving. They kind of like reformed a couple of times. But essentially, they were there to create not arcade games, but adult games.
Sega does what Nintendo do too.
Making gambling machines?
Yeah.
Nokia. Oh boy.
I know.
You do know this one.
I know this one flat.
So Nokia is, I believe, oh boy, it's Finnish, right? Where? Ooh.
Oh, you're not even close, my friend. Have you ever seen a globe?
I'm gonna guess that Nokia made some kind of radio. I'm gonna be a little broad there because I don't know the answer. And for the year, I'm gonna say 1937.
So this is a very, very obscure fun fact.
Okay.
Nokia is actually Egyptian.
Get the fuck out of here. You are lying.
And
to me in my
their
face.
first products were the bricks that they made pyramids in 800 BC.
Did you just gaslight me that whole time that you know what's up, and then you give me the most dumbest thing I've ever heard? Matt, I'm so upset with you right now.
I don't know these, so if I can make a Nokia the strongest material in the world joke,
Are
then
you trying
can
to
I
tell
know
me
it?
that like Nokia are actually the aliens who built the pyramids? Is that what I'm gonna hear next?
Go look up the Nokia cell phone that they found in the pyramid, okay? Tell me.
Those hieroglyphics were really suspicious, Matt. Wake up, sheeple.
What? Okay.
Wood fiberboard for paper making from 1865 in Finland?
Finland. Frederick, I just
I think you're about to offend some Finnish people.
established some pulp mills and formed the company in 1968.
1868.
1868, that's what I said. Named it after the town of Nokia, which was the site of one of the pulp mills, which had good hydropower resources. So basically, it was next to a river.
How do we score this one, Matt?
I think everyone was so far off, no points.
no
awarded
points?
here.
I'm okay with no
I
points.
think that I was actually closer in the spirit of
No.
No.
material goods, not electronics. They made fiber boards, all right? And what is a fiber board but just a thin brick made out of paper? Can Nokia bring back their old logo that's just a trout? Motorola.
Okay.
Do you think it's the pyramids?
It's not the pyramid. So I know Motorola was, I believe it was founded in Chicago. I feel like they made like old school TVs, certainly like radios, I want to say like transistor tubes. I keep saying radio because I just feel like that's like a safe answer, but I actually don't think that's the answer.
Well, that was the
in
bread and
Motorola.
butter of Motorola for a very long time. I think these were auto parts
Okay.
in the early 1900s.
Nah, it's too broad. You gotta give me an actual year.
I'm walking myself through
Okay.
this.
All right.
So I'm gonna say sprockets in
1925. Okay. I'm gonna say transistor tubes in 1917. Battery eliminators.
What?
Oh, 1928. That's pretty close. Motorola comes from the words motor car and Victrola. Whoa, you actually pretty close on that.
I knew they did a bunch with cars. I think I get 1.5 points. You will give me
No,
2?
we're not doing half. We're not doing half.
You do
points.
one. Okay, so I get 2 then.
Okay, I gotta get my serious pants on here.
Now I'm really regretting that 800 BC guess. Logitech.
Is it Logitech or Logicool?
Or is it Logi?
Logi. Logitech is oh boy, I want to say it's a Swiss company.
I'm gonna say that this is a serious like an abacus.
What? An abacus?
1890.
All right, I feel good that Kinsey's laughing, so I'm gonna not go that direction at all. Year-wise, I'm gonna guess 1962, and I'm going to guess that Logitech got their start with transistor tubes. All my answers are gonna be radios and transistor tubes. Transistor tubes, 1962. Final answer.
What?
The Logitech P4 mouse from 1981. What is this?
Well, I see what I did wrong because
Do you?
what I was thinking of it was actually Logitech, which was the company
Stop it.
before they came
Stop it.
Logitech.
Stop it.
And they
Just
sold
stop it.
they sold a
No.
series of abaci to to the fishermen who were bringing fish back and forth down the Norwegian Channel.
Moving on. HP Hewlett. Wait, Hewlett or Hewlett? Hewlett.
Hewlett.
Hewlett Packard. So I know that this is a Silicon Valley company. In fact, I believe Apple Park is actually built on the old HP campus in Cupertino. Apple purchased that from HP. I also know that HP got their start in those early PC days. So I feel pretty confident we're talking 70s here.
After you.
No. I've gone first enough times. You gotta take
you're
first guess on
winning.
here. I gave you an info dump of a bunch of very good clues. You can take
All
it
right,
over from here.
I'm gonna go with the Packard part of this and say that this was cars
No! Matt,
in
that's
the
wrong. That's wrong.
1930s.
I'm trying to help you, Matt. I'm trying to make this more fair. That's the wrong answer. You should go again.
The Packards were a tank that was repurposed.
Purpleized?
I'm gonna say cars. Car parts.
I'm going to say 1975, and I'm going to say it was not a computer, but like a tape.
abaci.
No, I'm going to say like a tape drive or something very closely related to PCs, but maybe not an actual full computer, but definitely PC adjacent.
Oh!
What? 1938 audio frequency oscillator. Wow. That's legitimately surprising to me. I did not know that. I thought HP was one of those like sort of
So I actually knew
Apple,
that this
Atari.
was, no, I knew this was a very old company.
Shut up.
But because I remember the logo. If I could just an aircraft is close to a tank. Which
No,
is close to
Matt, no. No.
no, people keep yelling at me for giving myself half points.
Yeah,
so
we're trying to play. Look,
5 points to Matt.
we read your comments. We understand that we need to take these seriously, which is why I'm deadly serious right now. 4-4. Let's go.
I like how intense you are in this game, and I am not at all in this one.
LG. Gotta think
Lucky
about this
Gold.
one. Lucky Gold Star. I
Lucky
know
Gold
that.
Star.
Matt, you go first. I think I know the answer to
I
this.
don't remember it.
Okay, you go first. I think I remember this.
Kinsey, Morse code, blink the answer to me. Why did I not learn Morse code? Okay, I'm gonna say in the 1940 telegraph machine.
I'm gonna say it was 1952, and it was TV.
Lucky Cream!
What? Oh my God! Wait, it wasn't LG. Lucky Gold Star or Gold Star was the electronics division from 1958.
Yeah.
1947, the company started. It was Lucky Chemical Industry. I feel like we should have got that. We should have got that.
You're technically closer on the year, and you're close enough that I'll give it to you.
I was closest without going
No, don't give me
It's
some
not,
prices
it's
right
not
bullshit.
blackjack rules.
Lego.
Oh no! Can you just give Matt the points and we move on here? Okay, well since Matt obviously knows the answer, I'll go first. I believe Lego was Danish. I think that they started with wood toys, mostly because I think Matt told me that like 3 months ago for some random reason. And the year I'm gonna guess is 1930.
You're right with the wood.
Mm-hmm.
It was a wooden duck, specifically a mallard.
Okay, well you're
On
more specific, so
wheels.
you win. Okay, sure.
And I want to say it was 48 that it came out.
Ooh, that's a big difference in years.
35.
1935.
Okay.
So it was a wooden duck. It did have wheels. So I think I get a point for the year. You get
Yeah.
a point for the duck.
Yep.
Fair.
Casio.
Oh, shit.
I forgot that Casio was a brand.
Big yikes.
Can I go back to my abacus
Okay. Yeah. Abacus away.
in 1890?
1890. Okay. I'm going to say probably a little newer than that. I'm going to say Casio is 1915. And their first product was a watch. I'm just going to say a watch. It's
watch?
obviously not a watch. I would say a watch in 1915. A Ubiwa pipe. It's a ring that holds a cigarette. So, 1946, they started by creating a ring that holds a cigarette that allows you to smoke it all the way down to the nub and leave your hands free.
And this was so profitable that they had to start making calculators in the 50s to start calculating how much money they were making from this ring.
Wow.
Namco.
Namco. This is before Bandai, obviously, before
Yeah.
they had merged. My strong inclination is just to say arcade machine. But were they doing something before that? Were they making pinball machines, man?
I do think this was pinballs in the 20s. I'll just say 25 to hedge my bet.
I'm gonna say, yeah. Arcade machine, 1975. Wow. Could you be more wrong about a question? That's amazing. This is a 1955 hand-cranked rocking horses. They were installed in the roof garden of a department store in Yokohama. Children loved them. They made decent profit. And they even made rides for Disney in the 60s before they eventually found their way into video games. Wow. This video is going to teach you, if nothing else, the value of a subscription to This Is. So you can learn all kinds of broaden horizon facts and trivia factoids that will surprise and delight even your harshest of nemesis.
I'm just realizing how little I know about
Life? I mean, too.
anything.
Yeah.
Toyota.
Oh, no, I need to know this one. I need to know this one. I've been to like Toyota factories. I've been to like Toyota museums. I should know this. This is one of those questions where like the answer is locked deep in some like box in my file cabinet in like the upper third quadrant behind my
Look at the
ear.
size of that thing. That's,
It's in here. I just gotta just shake it
that's
loose.
an Amazon warehouse up there. Are you kidding me? Yeah,
I gotta think on this one. This is like 80% shot of being completely false. But I think instead of cars, it was like wagons or something. And it was like 1905. You should say cars. That's the safe. That's the layup answer. I think it is cars.
I'm gonna go with like like a scooter, like a motorized scooter.
Those do not exist. What are you talking about? Motorized scooters?
Yeah,
That's not an old thing at all. There's no shot. There's zero shot.
and I'm saying
Okay.
1930.
Power Loom, 1906. Okay, I
get
was
the year.
pretty much dead on the year. So Toyota started out as Toyota Loom Company. God, now that you say, I feel like I knew this and I forgot it. I was pretty much on the year though, at least. I'm happy about that.
If you want to know more about looms, you can watch a very old This Is video.
Good video.
About the very first computer. Also, Linus hosted that video.
Mazda. Right. Japanese car company. Zoom. I mean,
Motorized scooters.
stop it, Matt. Motorized scooters were like 1985 or something.
No, they weren't. Honda had one in the 60s.
I think about Mazda and Subaru a lot, although they're obviously totally different companies. Because I know Subaru is actually like Fuji Heavy Industries, which is like a much bigger overall company, and that's just sort of part of it. I want to say, I mean, certainly I think Mazda's MO now are really just focused on cars, but in the early days where they also making cars, they may have done something else weird to begin with, because I will say it is really difficult to start a company making cars. If you look at any of the like startups today, I mean, you're talking unbelievable piles of money you have to burn to actually get a car company off the ground. I think the safe bet with Mazda is that it was something else and then they built into making cars. Also, for some reason, Mazda feels like very like a 60s company.
I'm going to go with manufacturing rubber.
Oh, okay. Manufacturing rubber in 1940.
I'm going to go down to 1940.
I'm going to say Mazda was founded in 19... Oh, wait. I just realized.
Oh, here we go.
No, hold on. No. I think...
he just realized after I conveniently gave my answer.
No. I was about to say, I guess the 60s, but now I'm remembering, I think like the Cosmo or something they actually had in like the late 50s. So actually Mazda has to be an older company than that if they were already making cars in the 50s. So then, you know what? I'm going to back my guess up a lot. I'm going to say 1932, and I am going to say that they were making parts. Like they were making like some kind of mechanical like car/plane parts.
You scoffed when I said sprockets.
1920 cork. Well, you know what? You're not too far away from rubber. Mazda was started in Hiroshima, which is surrounded by cork trees. And back then, plastic, rubber, that was not really all that common. Also, wait, cork comes from trees?
Yes.
So Matt gets the point for the item, which I think is fair. It's pretty close. But I think I was closer on the year.
Wait, you definitely were.
So, Kinsey, can we get the final score, please?
Our final score, it is Matt 6, Austin 7.
Let's go! Let's go! We don't actually know the order of the phones we have to argue right now, so Matt just keeps getting screwed.
Kinsey shuffled the deck and has given me the worst hand. Hello and welcome to This Is. iPhone is arguably the
worst phone that's ever been made. And today we're going to tell you some of the best phones that clearly are superior to the iPhone and will instantly make you take your iPhone and throw it in the garbage when you see it. They should have defeated the iPhone, starting with Palm Pre. Now, Palm made a series of clever phones over the years, but the Palm
They've made
Pre,
some really bad phones too.
they're mostly good. But the Palm Pre was by far the most technologically advanced phone out there besides the iPhone. Let me pitch you on why. Okay, Palm Pre had wireless charging in 2009. Mind you, you had to get like a separate back and it was a little bit of a thing. But you could wirelessly charge your phone full like 7-8 years before most people could. On top of that, it had by far the best operating system that has ever been made based on Linux that's not called Android, WebOS. This TV behind us from LG still uses WebOS.
So you're saying the best OS that's ever existed on a phone is now running a bunch of little triangles behind us?
Yeah, exactly. Hit me then. What do you think is better than the Palm Pre?
The Nokia N95 was a better version of the Palm Pilot. If you're looking for just features on a phone,
Just
the
features.
N95 was the superior phone. This had DVD quality camera.
Like for
so
video?
480p video. In 2007 on a camera, that was insane. And it actually sold way more units than the iPhone did.
Okay, but here's the thing, it's ugly.
It is, that's fair.
You can't tell me that this is better than the Palm Pre, but you know what I can tell you is even better? Droid does, baby. The Motorola Droid was, I think, the quintessential iPhone killer. Now, this was a couple years after the iPhone came out, so this is 2009. This phone had so much going for it. Not only did it actually have what was a fairly nice version of Android at the time, because it's easy to forget that early Android was bad, and the hardware of this phone was really, really impressive.
Their success was also their failure. Because they decided to call it a Droid, they lost all brand marketing for it. Everyone just thought that just meant an Android phone.
Yeah, that's true.
So everyone's like, hey, can I get an Android? And I give you the true superior Android phone of the time, the HTC Evo 4G. In 2010, this was only $200 on contract. This is when contracts subsidized a lot of the phones. HTC Sense was the best skin on Android.
You just like the stupid flippy clock.
I did like the flipping clock. Now, what made this thing super cool, this had a micro HDMI port on it and a little kickstand. This was the ultimate media machine back in 2010.
Do you know the problem with your device?
What's the problem?
It doesn't have a keyboard.
Your two phones had physical keyboards. Guess what doesn't have any physical keyboards anymore?
We live in the alternate universe where all phones still have keyboards, mostly thanks to the BlackBerry Bold 9900. BlackBerry sadly doesn't have the reputation that they used to, but if you can bring yourself all the way back to 2008, I would argue that the Bold 9900 was one of the best BlackBerries they ever made. It had, I think, one of the most comfortable typing experiences that were ever in the physical keyboard realm.
You know what it didn't have at all?
Apps.
Apps.
Okay.
None.
Well, it was still better than
And-
the iPhone because it worked.
So I'm noticing a pattern with all the phones you think are the best from the time. They all had keyboards and they all had mouse-like devices on them. But
Look, you tell me to give you a list of phones that are better than the iPhone. That list is pretty small. I gotta get a little creative here, Matt.
you know what was better than the BlackBerry at the time?
Go ahead, Matt. What's the great execution
The
again?
best execution ever. I can't,
You walked yourself into that one.
I
Matt, tell me
can't
more.
say this with a straight face. What was better than
The iPhone killer.
iPhone was the Monome Runcible.
The ridiculous. Got it.
Literal piece of garbage was announced in 2015. It was Indiegogo, which raised over $250,000.
Which is nothing for a
No.
smartphone.
It was advertised as an anti-smartphone.
That had a
No
long
Android, no Play Store, no nothing. And it was this weird circle device, and it was like the back of it was like you could get different textures. It was like rock. It was stone. That hole in the back of it is a camera, which it was so unwieldy. It was expensive, and it never
never
once showed. Yeah, never shipped to market.
They
So,
spent years talking about it and then just whoop.
it's-
Well, that's definitely better than the
yeah,
iPhone.
definitely better. I can't.
Well, okay,
This thing was trash.
I'll put us back on the rails. A phone that actually was legitimately a real competitor with the iPhone was the Samsung Galaxy S4. So Matt, the S4 to me, I would say the S3 as well. This was a good era for Samsung. The S4 had a lot going for it, namely a 1080p OLED display, something that is still honestly pretty impressive by today's standards. But keep in mind, this was in 2013. You had a removable battery, you had a micro SD card slot, and you had the greatest software experience in the world, TouchWiz. Bloop.
No. I'll give you that the Galaxy S4 was a damn fine phone.
It was
Plastic,
plastic,
a great
fantastic.
phone. Plastic, yeah. But if it had HTC Sense, it would have been a perfect phone.
Okay, well then what's better than the S4?
I'll tell you what's better than the S4. God damn it.
We don't actually know the order of the phones we have to argue right now, so Matt just keeps getting screwed.
Kinsey shuffled the deck and has given me the worst hand. The Amazon Fire Phone released in 2014, was a whopping $650 without a contract. Holy crap. What it was supposed to be able to do is like scan barcodes and products and whatnot.
And your face to give you that 3D interface.
Yeah, and then you were supposed to be able to like integrate it with Amazon. Dude, this thing was trash. The specs on it were horrible.
Yep.
It didn't have any of the Play Store.
There was nothing going for the Fire Phone. This was back in the era where everyone and their moms were trying to make themselves their own smartphone. Fire Phone was bad. You know what was great? Project Aura, a revolutionary product that I think would have changed the game had it not been so cruelly taken away from us. So Project Aura was a Google phone. Essentially, this was the idea of a fully modular smartphone. So you could theoretically have like the backbone and you could swap out a different screen if yours broke or there's a new like higher res option. You could swap out your processor. You could add extra battery modules or new camera modules. Like it was a very cool idea. And fun fact, Matt, I was one of the few people outside of Google to actually see one of these because they never shipped. But there was at one point I was at an event, a Google engineer pulled this out of their pocket for a second. Me and a couple other people were like, oh, that's real. And we immediately shot video. And then a PR rep goes like, nope. But if you want to find real footage of Project Aura in action, your boys got some of the only footage on the whole internet. This unfortunately got canceled and ultimately was a really doomed to fail project.
There's no way to make it cost effective.
It was very limited.
To be saying like, oh, I'm going to upgrade my camera module, it's just not happening.
You know what is happening, Matt? The transition to your next phone that you don't know is.
The next phone is the #1 phone selling. So the red hydrogen one might be the worst phone that's ever been made.
But Matt, it's better than the iPhone.
I can't even argue this in a good way. So this absolute behemoth was released by Red, the camera manufacturer, who also makes sunglasses. Founder of Oakley decided to start making cameras, and then he released this piece of garbage.
Yeah, so the idea was with Red cameras, you know, super high-end cinema cameras, that you'd be able to attach this either to your Red camera or you could attach like nice like lenses and cameras and stuff to the back of the phone. But at $1,300, this crashed and burned harder than Matt's last segue. What's better than the Red Hydrogen and what's better than the iPhone is in fact the Kyocera Echo. Now Matt, I'm gonna tell you about this because this was a dual screen phone all the way back in 2011, back when the iPhone was an infant. The Kyocera Echo was a highly ahead of its time device. Android 2.3 was exactly the right version of Android to have a custom dual screen version with very low end specs that could definitely run lots of apps at the same time.
So it had this super revolutionary feature where you could actually have 4 separate apps open at the same time. And there would be like one line of text for each of those because the resolution was so
It was
bad.
so ahead of its time.
Sometimes the technology is just not there yet. And I agree that we have to push the boundaries. But sometimes, maybe wait a year before you do that. But you know what didn't wait a year before revolutionizing the game?
What's that?
All right. No. So the LG Wing was actually semi-revolutionary.
It was okay. Yeah. Okay,
Like,
I'll give you that.
This was like a legitimately cool but just poor executed feature. The main screen would flip out and there was a secondary screen below it. It gave you a good viewing angle. You could like be typing while still looking at things. This was great for playing Fortnite.
Yep.
Because you basically had controls on the bottom of it. I'm trying really hard to say nice things about this phone.
I'm sold, actually. I'm going to throw everyone's iPhones in the garbage. The LG Wing was clearly the best phone that we've ever seen.
The LG Wing was such a flop that LG's just like, maybe we shouldn't make phones anymore. And then they didn't.
But you know what's even better than the LG Wing? And something that truly blew everyone away? The Sony Ericsson Xperia Play.
Yeah.
This was known as the PlayStation phone for a reason. Now, this is around the era of the PSP Go, right before the Vita came out. This actually had some really interesting ideas behind it. So it had a little slide out, but instead of a keyboard, you had an actual full like PSP style gamepad. On top of that, it had relatively decent specs, an okay screen, and it actually was a relatively decent full-featured phone.
Actually, the big problem with this one is it was announced as the PlayStation phone.
Yep.
And it wasn't released for like 5 years later.
It wasn't that long.
And it could only play PS1 games, despite the fact that it looked exactly like the PSP Go. It couldn't play a single PSP game. And then the Vita came out immediately after that. And it's like, well, why would I get this phone? Cool idea, horrible execution. But you know
Okay.
it wasn't a horrible execution? Razer phones, which technically is one of the only ones on this list that's not officially discontinued.
Well, they just didn't make any more.
So in 2017, Razer released the Razer phone, which was pretty revolutionary as a gaming phone. It had a 120 hertz display.
That was cool.
Which was super revolutionary at the
Yeah.
time. Dual front-facing speakers, which no phones really have now. It had a vapor chamber for cooling. This was a gaming beast.
It was, and it also was a beast in your pants.
Yeah, it was quite large. I mean, it doesn't fit in your pocket. Great. But
We should stop. This is going off the rails very quickly.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what the real G's use. They used the HTC First, our last device of the day, because the HTC First had the unique distinction of being a Facebook phone, a mid-range phone that was aimed at the budget market that had a Facebook button and a Facebook launcher, which was available on other devices, but it came with it right out of the box.
It originally launched at either $100 on contract or $450 off
Mid-range
contract.
for the time.
Within a couple months, it was so unpopular that basically, like, you know what? $1. You could have got this at the dollar store.
But the thing was, the HTC First, it was the only phone that was blessed by the Zuck. And honestly, if I don't trust the Zuck with my phone and my data, who else are you going to trust?
Are you a super alpha man's man of a
Yeah.
man boy?
Yes.
Then this website is for you. The website we're talking about is called Uncrate. It calls itself the leading buyer's guide for men. Austin and I are banned from doing this because we are not men. We are boys. Let's see the first item that should not exist, but is sold on Uncrate.
Whoop! Whoop!
So you all remember the smart basketball from our dumb products that Apple sold? Well, here is the accompanying smart hoop that would make that sound every time
Sorry, one more time. Hoop. This basketball backboard? Would you call it a backboard?
I'd say it's just a basket.
So are you trying to aim for her face? Is that what you're doing?
It's a normal backboard.
Okay.
It just happens to have a screen in it, which will do things as magical and wonderful as count your baskets.
The basket will tell you how many baskets.
It's just like
Almost like the one that we got from Costco for like $100 that's been downstairs in our break room for the last 3 months.
Now, the cool thing about this one is it costs $4,000. I'm too poor to even have, like, just me going on this website overdrafted my bank account.
I, as someone who has been scammed a time or two in my day, would never, ever judge you, dear viewer, Sam, for making questionable decisions. However, you got $4,000 to drop on this thing. It's okay. You probably still got plenty of Ethereum to cover your mortgage this month.
If Charles Barkley doesn't get on here and coach me, this ain't worth it, because I just want Charles Barkley to come on and just like, that shot was terrible. That was terrible. The Null Stern Zero Real Estate.
Can we just take a moment? Can we just appreciate this image? Okay, cool. I'm done appreciating. What the f? I'm calling the police. I'm sending them to this gas station in Switzerland where you're going to be sitting there with your buns out in the middle of the wilderness rather than a place of rest. This aims to keep you awake and offers a place of reflection on current affairs such as the climate, the economy, security, or quality.
Is that because the homeless guy that sits out in front of the gas station is just going to be screaming about how the government stole his fingernails or something?
Okay, couple of thoughts here. First of all, what happens if it rains? Second of all, it does come
It
with
keeps
a
you
butler.
awake.
It comes with a butler. Does the butler work inside the gas station? Where is the butler?
Is it just a guy who pumps your gas?
I could not agree with Matt more, and that this is actually a neat idea if you're like on top of a mountain.
Yeah.
Like that's like some
Like
like
if you
crazy
got
James
like if
Bond
you're like
shit.
overviewing a
Yeah.
waterfall and like whatever.
Imagine this like on top of like a skyscraper or something in a big city.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
This is beta, as the kids say.
The
What
shoesy. Have you ever looked at your favorite hype beast sneaker and thought, what if this was a gun?
My brain is locking up because I have so many questions. First of all, what kind of weaponry is this? Does this shoot bullets, Nerf bullets, darts, BBs?
It shoots the little plastic things that are on the end of shoelaces.
Why do we need to put guns and shoes together?
This is America, baby!
I feel like I'm getting the idea of what Uncrate's about, and I'm quickly learning that it is not our demographic.
It is very clear where Elon Musk gets all of his stuff from. Oh, yeah.
No. No. The Dyson air purifying headphones. So this is a set of headphones that will cancel everything, right? If you're afraid of being canceled, wear these headphones because they will cancel you. Also, those headphones look really ugly, can I just say?
How dare you? Because the Dyson engineers spent 6 years and had over 500 prototypes. This is the winner. They went as far as to create a mannequin with working mechanical lungs to test this out.
And again, this is the best they had?
All right.
Oh! A Petit
wait.
Philippe?
Oh, God.
Is that a Petit Philippe? A Petit Philippe?
So this here, you are not buying
Wait, what?
the Petit Philippe, I can't read.
The Nautilus.
You're only buying an NFT of this watch. You're buying shares of a watch that some other dude owns.
Is it like a timeshare for watches?
No.
A timeshare?
Get out. Get out. Get out. For a fraction of the price, and not even a small fraction, because just based on this website, you can be like, I own 1/1000th of George Clooney's Petit Philippe watch.
Matt, would this make you feel better that they announced this and then it just never happened? But wait.
What?
What? The All Design Lab tennis racket.
This is where Skynet comes in. This is the moment.
That does look like it's about to terminate me.
This sci-fi design is the result of the AI program DALL-E. This bad boy, unfortunately, will never be used by Roger Federer because
He's what, Matt?
he retired.
From a game?
No, from tennis.
Oh, the DeLorean Omega. Okay, so here's the thing. DeLorean, not to be confused with the DeLorean Motor Company, which was famously run out of business by a certain scandal with cocaine and whatnot back in the 80s. Of course, the original DeLorean only made the one car. But now that they have begun bringing things back, it makes sense that they're trying to drum up a whole lot of interest. Now, apparently, the new DeLorean, the guy who bought the existing trademark and has rebuilt DeLorean, they've actually been sued.
Are you so alpha that you're living in the future while us betas are living in the present, which might as well be middle-aged past? DeLoreans were just not well made.
Well, you know what? Sometimes you don't need to be well made.
This
Because
is
as soon as
literally
this baby
made by
hits 88
Alpha.
miles an hour. You're gonna see some serious shit. The ProDrive Callum Racing Simulator.
Do you wish you could drive the DeLorean from 2040, but you live in today now? Also, do you want to do the other rich person sport, which is Formula One?
Absolutely.
This is only slightly cheaper than just buying your own Formula One car.
As a Formula One aficionado, I feel very accomplished and qualified to tell you that this looks dope. 16 layers of steam bent birch. You've got a Cobra Nagaro racing seat. It's a carbon fiber cockpit with the SimCube Pro steering motor, but at least it does say that assembly is included. So they'll come to your house and build you this dope ass racing setup.
I mean, you know a lot about this. It's almost like you have like a F1 podcast.
Look, I'm gonna actually be really honest with you for a second. $47,000 is a lot of money, right? A lot of money. But
You're about to justify this, and
it's not crazy.
when we say eat the rich, I'm talking about you.
I'm not gonna buy one of these things, but
If I show up to your house and I see this here, I hope this comes with pre-filled out divorce papers, because
is this a screenshot from Cyberpunk?
sometimes you want to wear a hat and sometimes you want to wear sunglasses. But how do you do it at the same time? The sunglasses,
And then the hat's on top of
it's-
it,
it's-
and then like you can't break into the bank because they can see your forehead. It's very
if
unfortunate
only
when you're robbing.
someone came up with a solution. Well, luckily Fendi did. For a mere $700, you too can look like an idiot.
If you wear this in public and get punched in the face, I think you just gotta chalk it up to part of the deal. Woo! More driving shoes. These are the Orlean driving shoes. Are you so rich that you need to change into your Italian driving shoes whenever you go for a drive? Kinsey wrote that for me because I actually have driving shoes and I wear them sometimes when I go for the track or for go-karts or something.
I hate you so
But
much.
does it make you feel better that while they are driving shoes, I got them for $25 at like some clearance rack?
That's $25 more than you should have spent on driving shoes.
They're Ferrari Form Fit Puma shoes, and I say Form Fit.
Form fit to what?
My foot.
You bought them off the rack.
They're just really small shoes. So
Just because you have tiny feet.
if you're watching this, Sam, I need your help right now. Let these guys know that I am not off base. And the driving shoes, while not necessary, when you're going fast, the last thing you do is press the wrong pedal. Would you spend $200 on like cleats?
Cleats that dig into the grass while you're running.
This digs into the pedals so you don't trip over your feet. I'm telling you.
I've never stepped on like my gas pedal and been like, man, I wish I had cleats on this. I'm so rich that I can't. I need to have multiple pedals. I'm so poor that I have.
That's not the same thing. We need to move on immediately, or I'm gonna get really upset here. Oh, this is a different engine.
What?
Engine. Fuel the dream, but engine.
Wait.
Wait.
This one here has been a roller coaster. This is Italian gin. It's organic, which I mean, of course it is. It's gin.
Well, it's Italian, so it's like it's going for the whole like motorsport theme. Like, you know, it looks like an oil can.
What you're really paying for here,
Yeah.
is that the website has a fully interactive 3D experience.
Would you guys like to see this?
I would love.
You're paying for the dev.
Oh my goodness, is that the gin station?
Oh my god.
Oh, we're going inside. We're going inside. Actually, you know what? This branding is kind of neat. I'm not gonna lie. This is
This is right now taking up about 12% of AWS just in the processing power for this website. Do you want a big, well-kept island? Well,
Yes.
this isn't the listing for you.
Oh.
Instead, you can get a little ragged island. It's 712 acres, complete with exotic fish, because, you know, water.
712 acres?
Yes,
That's
that
just
is-
small.
For an island, you live on like a quarter of an acre.
Okay, fair enough. Exotic fish, fresh springs, and lignum vitae trees.
Lignum balls!
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
Having fresh springs on your island actually is probably a pretty big deal.
Yes, because, you know, when you are stranded on island,
You gotta drink.
yeah, you gotta drink. So Tom Hanks owes the auction of Sotheby's.
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 You
He
never heard
owes
of
them
Sotheby's?
What?
You never heard of Sotheby's?
No.
They're like one
I'm
of the big
poor.
auction. Okay, never mind.
eBay is the only auction I know.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Continue. Hey, are there laws if you have your own island? Can you do whatever you want?
Well, it depends on where it is.
Okay.
And you can learn more about that if you go and watch one of our greatest This Is episodes
I was about to ask.
on Sealand. I mean, this is exactly how Bond villains start. So
Hurston Preston and Zellerfield have combined to create one of the most Sigma products of all time. Do you like sneakers, Matt?
no.
Do you like 3D printing?
No.
What if you could 3D print sneakers?
I don't want to.
Well, too bad, because now the Heron 01 is here. You can now be a beta tester for 3D printed footwear.
wait. I don't want to be beta testing anything if I'm on this website. I better be alpha testing this.
Basically, if you join, you install an iPhone app, upload your pictures directly to Wikifeed, to their 3D printing services, where they will then charge you $350 and 3D print sneakers that are perfectly designed for your feet.
Give me the. I need the.
Wow,
So-
that's very impressive.
What we do is you grab
Yep, grab your
your
foot.
iPhone.
There you go.
Bam. Send that off.
Okay.
Now, fun fact: we actually
it
had
gently.
this 3D modeled from Austin's foot originally.
How dare you?
So
How dare you?
the Garden Glory Hose.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
You're thinking of a different. You're thinking of.
No, absolutely not, young man. Absolutely not. Elegant and sophisticated now described garden hoses.
Oh,
The dull
yeah.
green eyesores have received a Scandinavian-inspired update. $170 is too much for a garden hose? Do you want your neighbors to think that you just went to Home Depot and bought a peasant hose? Ha! Hilarious! Garden Glory, which is apparently a company, only provides the finest of accoutrements and other various tchotchkes and high-end paraphernalia.
Why am I still holding the foot?
You know what, Matt? That's a great question. Why are you still holding your finger over the subscribe button and your other middle finger over the ring-a-ling-ding-a-ling button? I'm not sure why, but you gotta do it both at the same time. Thank you very much for subscribing. We appreciate your support. As does Garden Glory for your $170.
Do you ever wish your nice new shoes looked like you went through a mud compactor?
The Balenciaga trash can high tops.
Balenciaga?
Balenciaga.
Balenciaga?
you heathen. So this is the limited edition, which comes aged with decades worth of wear. There are only 100 pairs in existence, and they're a cool $1,820.
Great news for me is because I'm pretty sure I have a pair of these sitting back at my parents' house. So there goes my kid's college fund.
Well, would it make you feel better that you could also spend $495 for their slightly thrashed high tops. This is a real art piece, right? Because it shows that while idiots have money, they can easily have that money stolen from them by companies such as Balenciaga.
My
who think this
favorite
is
part
cool.
about this is that some guy is going to buy these and then never wear them because he's worried about ruining them. I'm poor. Moving on.
Well, you know what you need? Matt, if you're poor, let me tell you this. You can easily finance a few kidneys for the airship yacht. Don't you hate it when you get on your mega yacht, that 197-foot beauty that's floating in the Mediterranean Sea, soaking up that beautiful French sunrise? Well, let me tell you what. You can't fly in that bitch, can you? Well, look no further, because this is a 656-foot blimp that will fly your boat around. This apparently does come with the yacht. However, the yacht does not have any self-propelling or motors, so good luck with that. Also, good luck with getting yours, because while they're currently taking orders, they're expecting to deliver in 2026.
So we live in Los Angeles, where we
Yacht
see
capital
the
of the
really
world.
dumb shit.
Yeah.
I cannot wait to just watch one of these float by. Because, like, as the world descends into awfulness, you just float away above the clouds. I think I'm going to get one of these. I think if I sell my old Converse, I think I can swing this.
What? One goddamn fucked up horror picture from director T. West?
They'll do, like, curated, like, boxes of everyday carries. Let's say, like, as an alpha, I want to look good, but I don't maybe have the alpha design yet.
You need some inspiration, perhaps?
You need some inspiration, or better yet, have some beta peasant do it for me. So they have these boxes here. It'll be something like, here's this watch, and it goes great with this pen that costs $20,000, and also this taser knife that is another $4,500.
Wait, wait, is it actual basketball?
Yeah, this is a ballin' outfit. It comes with a $300 basketball.
Is this compatible with the hoop?
Think about it. This is a bargain. You could get this entire fit for what? $2 grand? $3 grand?
If you buy me this, I'll wear it. Are we allowed to put this on YouTube? Hello and welcome to This Is. Let's see some Amazon reviews. I whip out this thing like it's cash money and flip it around like a $2 bill you've never seen before. I'm throwing everything in there. Towels, shirts, pants, my grandmother's bathrobe, my grandfather's ashes.
I can sell this thing to a man without a torso. God bless. Thank you, boomers, for making Amazon reviews a glorious opportunity for us all.
So Kinsey has picked up a bunch of Amazon reviews, and we have to try and guess what they are based on just the review alone. We did this a couple episodes ago. We did not do great. I won that competition. Of course I did, because Austin loses everything. I'm going to say that this is
You're making a guess already.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to say that this is a steamer, and then this psychopath puts his grandfather's ashes in there.
You know, I'm going to say, just to be contrary, this is some kind of bag. Final answer.
All right, so I'm going to modify mine slightly.
Oh, too late.
It is a laundry folding board.
I don't think either of us get points on this one.
But where
What?
are the ashes from?
What?
Okay.
The
I
ashes
think
is just this guy being insane.
the people who leave these reviews are absolute psychopaths. I think I get the most amount of
You
points.
get
for
1
this.
point.
I get 1 point because I at least was talking about laundry.
I think my bag of some sort for clothes is also worthy of 1
You
point.
never said clothes. You just said bag.
Yeah, a bag to put,
I
obviously,
at
the
least said
clothes.
clothes. Matt gets 3 points.
You don't
Moving
get to choose
on.
the point. No. Kenzie's the point master. Kenzie, where you come down on this one?
Yeah, but I'm Kinsey's boss.
I'm your boss.
So?
Let's go to the next item.
All right.
The long con. Big tree time. Ha ha ha. It's about to be big tree time for my neighbor Sean. 125 people found this helpful. Sean is about to get big treed.
Are we allowed to put this on YouTube?
Have you experienced big tree time?
You're about to get big tree.
What's wrong
Oh,
with
no.
neighbor Sean?
Oh, no.
What's wrong with neighbor Sean? He doesn't deserve to be big treed.
I'm absolutely baffled by this one. I have no idea. Fertilizer. I got not like.
What?
No.
What?
A fake plant. That's all I got.
I think this is a costume of some variety. Either it's Groot or it's like camouflage, something like that.
I'll lock in my wrong answer of some sort of ridiculous fake plant, but I do think you're right.
Tree seeds.
Tree seeds? I was close. Oh my.
Wait. Is this guy really leaving
Is he gonna
reviews on
plant
seeds?
a California giant redwood in Sean's backyard?
Sean is gonna regret this decision in 200 to 400 years.
I think I could have gotten points if I stuck with manure or like fertilizer.
Yeah.
But
You get 1 point. 1.
I'm up 10 points today. Moving on to the next one. How long can I wear the product? For the wearing of blank, it would depend how much body perspiration you have. If you are normally a dry kind of person, the blank could last several days. If you're a waterfall kind of person, I would say a few minutes before the blank broke down and stuck to your body.
I don't ever want to be described as a normally dry kind of person.
But I
we'll just go
also
with
don't
it.
want to be described as a waterfall kind of person. I feel like we're on a spectrum here. You got the Mojave over here. And you got Niagara Falls over here.
No. So here's the thing, right? It's gonna be something lame. It's gonna be like it's some kind of patch that you would put onto your body. That's my final answer.
All right, these are temporary tattoos. And I know this because for Halloween, I went as Post Malone and I could not get the damn tattoos off my body for like a week. I would not call myself a dry nor waterfall type of person, but those
Because no one should.
It's football cards.
I'm offended by this.
Kinsey played incredibly dirty on that one.
You know, like what they say, don't go chasing waterfalls, but what we should chase is the next Amazon review.
Please come back, Becky. Oh boy, this is a great start. Blank is true in every way, unlike my ex-wife. Although it does a superb job of whisking away the droplets of sweat that fall from head, it does little for the tears that fall from my face. If you're worried about the plushness of this product, fear not. It is perfect to lay down in the backseat of your 2003 GMC Yukon, which I'm currently living out of. What the
Kinsey, I specifically asked you not to use my reviews.
How are we ever gonna get this? This guy just has problems. This has nothing to do with the Amazon review.
I think this is a callback to our first episode.
Ooh, okay.
And I think this is the same product that we were ripping tanks with.
I hit an absolute tank in slow pitch softball with the boys wearing these. What? Do you ever rip tanks? Is that a thing we can do?
Kinsey, did you call back to an earlier episode?
Maybe.
Oh! Full points for Matt on that one.
Let's see it. Let's see it.
Yoga mat.
No! What? I was so confident.
I didn't even take a guess on that one because I was so convinced that you were right.
Kinsey, you done me dirty.
I'm giving you 2 points because that was a really good answer.
Also, I think it's my turn to read this one. No, you read the last one.
This is my turn. My wife purchased this for Christmas thinking it was an Alexa. Even when she wrapped it, she didn't notice it was a blank. What bothers me most is I've shown her the exact model of blank I wanted Santa Claus to bring me, and it didn't look anything like this.
God.
Anyways, we decided to give this a try. This thing has saved our marriage. Please contact Becky after this.
I'm not gonna go where obviously everyone's head's at right now. This is some shenanigans going on. I'm gonna think in a completely different direction. So what's something that looks like an Alexa that is innocuous and also saves marriages?
I mean, like a Bluetooth speaker would be like the obvious one.
Saves
but
most marriages, Bluetooth speakers.
I know it's not a Bluetooth speaker.
It has to look like an Alexa.
Here's the thing. I think Alexa's being used in the context right here the same way like, oh, every boomer calls any video game a Nintendo.
I think it's a clock. I'm gonna just say it's a clock or timekeeping device of some type. That's my answer.
I have no idea.
One of the censored words is buns.
You can't tell him that after I locked my answer in.
All right. I'm going to think what saved our marriage.
Which was the toaster?
The $500 toaster. That's what I'm going to say.
You're absolutely correct.
I broke the chair.
I call shenanigans because not only is this my toaster, Matt got the hint after I locked my answer in.
I still get the question.
Can I just ask who
You're
orders
losing
this?
points for that weird laugh.
Exactly. Excellent.
I definitely
win.
broke this chair, by the way.
Yeah, you jumped up and down on it like an absolute maniac. Your wife, sir, may need to get her eyes checked if you think that this is an Alexa and not a toaster.
In my headcanon, Becky left her first husband
Yep.
for this new one.
Who actually got her? the
Becky's a
toaster.
serial divorce her. This toaster has stopped Becky in her track of just divorcing everyone.
The toaster is what's good and right in this world.
Let's move on to the next item.
Best prank ever.
Why does Austin get all the pranks?
I'm a fun guy.
Okay.
Placed it in the vent in my boss's office. After a couple days, he had a blank. Come in to check for the blank. A week later, he was going absolutely nuts. I started to feel bad, but then he came out and started to be a dick to a coworker, so I figured he'd get to another week of blank. They finally started to remove all the drop ceiling tiles to figure out what was blank. He recently switched to a different office. Guess what moved with him? That's right. His new office now has a new blank.
There's no way
There's so
this
much to
isn't
that.
just some sort of stink bomb. Can you just buy a whole mackerel, just a fish from Amazon?
I am gonna say this is a little noise generator that's making annoying sounds.
The mouse jiggler.
No, this is a sound. It's
In
a
the
sound
vent.
thing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
in
it's
the
a sound
vent.
thing.
Nope. Yep. You're right. You're right.
Oh wow, what a horrible device.
It won't stop beeping for 3 years.
That's messed up.
Who puts that in an Amazon review?
This is a serial killer device.
This is terrible, but I think I get points on this one.
All right, can we get a recap of the score? Because he did get full points. I'll fully admit he got full
I
points.
say it's probably like 5v5 right now.
5v5.
Sounds about right.
I got 27 points before.
You laughed funny and she removed them. And then you broke your chair and you got negative points.
I am sinking, by the way. Just FYI, this chair is like legitimately broken.
Okay.
Is it harvested from free range
What? Whoa, hold on.
The gamers did not rise up for this one.
Oh.
There is no such thing as a free range gamer, unless you're a mobile breed. But no one speaks of lesser creatures. This was harvested from the crusted keyboards of many a sweaty nerd or the silt-covered crevices of an Xbox controller.
I don't like anything that I just saw. So it's a gamer product. It's a non-slip thing for a controller or a keyboard.
You think it's on the controller?
Controller, mouse, keyboard. It's something to keep your hands from slipping.
Is this like those finger condoms?
Oh no.
I'm going with finger condom.
Okay.
Gamer goo.
Oh, that's.
Austin was pretty close.
Can we talk about how upsetting this name is?
At least it smells like cherry blossom.
Probably the best smelling thing that a gamer... I don't want to talk about
don't
gamer
finish that
goo
sentence, please.
anymore. I can say unequivocally that the experience was wonderful. I showed up at work and my boss immediately handed me a bottle of heated milk. First of all, we're doing work way wrong at this point. At lunchtime, I crawled down the hallway until Roger from IT gave me a toy race car I could zoom up and down the conference room. All day I heard people say, anyone know where the blank went? I don't see him anywhere. Little did they know that it wasn't an actual baby in the office, but it was me. I don't feel good. When I came to work the next day, everyone was talking about the giant baby that showed up to the office the next day before. I didn't tell them what happened. This is now our little secret.
It gotta be a baby costume, right? Come on.
I'm gonna get more specific with it.
Okay, go for it.
I'm gonna say it's that like super like hyper realistic baby mask. I'm so upset by this.
I don't like. Okay. All right.
I just.
Oh!
Debbie, why would you swaddle this?
I want that photo to go away. What a great review, though. I want more reviews from Amazon written from the perspective of babies.
This is your thumbnail, by the way.
A very helpful way to find your balls. Sometimes it's very frustrating to find my balls.
I know.
Matt, can you speak to this personally from experience?
I don't want to talk about giant babies and then finding your balls.
Babies play with balls all the time. What are you talking about? There's all kinds of balls. You just need to experience more balls in your life.
Balls.
This is an impossible question, but I will say this is clearly not from Amazon. I detect skullduggery is what I detect.
This is from Sharper Image.
It's golf.
I'm gonna take a wild swing.
Yep.
I'm going for birdie. I'm gonna say these are glow in the dark golf balls.
Ooh, that's a very good answer. I would say I agree. I'm gonna go with something to be a little different. I'm gonna say it's a golf ball that like makes noise or something, but I think you're right.
I do think that would be more on par with
Hey, that's
with Sharper Image. All right, let's see. Trying to find your balls
So
on the
you
links.
guys were both close, but not quite.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Okay.
Golf ball finding glasses. They're just blue glasses that tint out the green of grass and whatnot.
It's one of those things, again, we did this with Sharper Image. You can go check out that video right here. However, this is one of those things that, like, it seems like a decent idea from Sharper Image, but it is, again, about $59.97 too expensive for what it is. You threw us for a sand trap on that one.
I don't appreciate getting caught in the rough.
This was a water hazard. All right. After tallying up the score, I think I am the winner here.
I think the viewers are the winner. Are you familiar with the phrase butts to nuts?
Hello and welcome to This Is. We've already looked at some of the weird products that Costco sells, but even we have our limits on what we are willing to spend. We went through Costco's website and looked at the dumbest products that they sell. Everything we're looking at is at least $7. Let's see the first one. Okay, the True Golf Vista 10 series. Is Wii Sports Golf simply not realistic enough experience for you? Are we supposed to guess how much?
Do we know actually how much?
But I know how much this one cost.
It was like 13 grand?
Yeah, it's 13 or 14 grand. $13.99, which you can get my vehicle, a 2019 Nissan Sentra.
Look,
Are you trying to sell my car?
I am certainly not going to judge anyone who wants to put down some big dollar bills
I'm gonna judge you.
on a simulator. No. You know, golf is a real sport, allegedly. I'm here to approve, Grandpa, of buying your new golf simulator in your retirement home that apparently is going to be 20 feet long and 13 feet wide.
Moving on to the next one. The Bighorn Ironworks 63 cubic foot executive vault. 85-minute fire rating. You can light this bad boy on fire for 85 minutes.
That's actually a long time, though, for a safe. Not that I'm a safe aficionado or anything, but I am a house burning aficionado, sadly. The problem, though, is if you look at this looks cheapy to me. It doesn't look real. It looks like fake aluminum on the outside.
It looks like a movie prop
Yep.
from an old Western. So this thing weighs roughly the same weight as a 2019 Nissan Sentra at 1,250 pounds. Who's going to Costco?
Yeah.
And just putting their little
Yeah.
cart like, oh, I got my guacamole, I got my chicken bake,
Your
and
golf
I got
simulator.
my 1,200 pound safe. I'm gonna go with $1,250.
No.
I'm gonna say 1 pound, one
No
pound
way.
per buck.
I'm gonna say it's $3,000. Ooh, $66.99.
What?
Well, you
So-
could get a 2007 Chevy Tahoe for $67.57 apparently. You know what though? If you're a Bighorn executive, Matt, you don't care about $6,000.
I'm clearly a
You
little
spent
horn.
$6,000 to wipe your butt at the country club. So clearly, to keep your executive gun.
If I'm
I mean,
paying $6,000, someone else better be wiping my butt at the country club. The car tent. Okay, so I've stayed in one of these.
What's the weight limit on a car tent? Because I'd be a little afraid.
It's
of a
enough for me. So
basically, you could put this on most cars. I assume it replaces like the roof rack, or it mounts to the roof rack.
it mounts to the roof rack, and I feel like we're not pitching this thing properly.
Okay,
So I'm gonna give you
me the sales pitch. Why do we need a Subaru car tent?
Do you want to go camping, but like
No.
not on the ground
Yeah,
where
definitely
all
not.
those bugs are?
No.
Sometimes there's bears and other animals, but you know what? There's not.
You know, bears don't know how to climb up cars. You're saying.
They don't know how to climb up cars. But also with the car tent, you get the added bonus of pretending like you're in that tree fort. If you want that memory back, the car tent is for you. I guarantee you right now that anyone who's ever bought this owns a Subaru.
Or a 4Runner in Washington, the home of the Cost Company. It's based in Seattle, I think, or the Seattle area. I'm relatively confident.
Make sure you subscribe to This Is, because we always tell you where the origins of company names go.
Lucky
and that's
Gold Star.
Lucky
LG.
Gold Star. I'm gonna go 4278.
4,000?
Yeah.
$1,200.
It's $21.99.
I'll take the point for that. Aaron, can I have a point? I'm not demanding it like Matt always says. Can you please give me a little point graphic? I'd appreciate
I
it.
am demanding a point. Moving on to the next one.
All right.
Next up, we have the Forno Finenzia Pronto.
Wait. No,
I'm
no, no.
Italian.
No,
I can't
No,
pronounce.
you got to do that one again. The what?
The Forno
the
Finenzia
Forno
Pronto Outdoor Wood Burning Pizza Oven. When the moon hits your eye like a big pizza pie,
Oh, good luck.
it's this oven.
But hang on, no. We're not even talking about this oven yet. The Forno Venezia sounds like a fake bunch of Italian words that some marketing agency came up with.
I'm gonna guess this monstrosity is
Expensive because it's huge.
$1,250.
No.
$1 per pound.
No. This is gonna be $3,000.
Austin is pretty spot on. It's $27.99.
Do you not go to the Cost Company?
Can I let you in on a secret?
Oh, no.
I've never
What?
ever
What? No.
been
Don't finish that sentence, man.
to a Costco. I've had Costco pizza, but someone has always
brought it home to you.
Yeah.
You didn't go and actually
Yeah.
experience it live.
Correct. I get the concept of it, but like I've never been to a Costco.
Here's the thing. Imagine sitting in line for 30 to 80 minutes to save $5 on your gas. Once you go inside, are you familiar with the phrase butts to nuts? You're butts to nuts with your fellow Costco shoppers. You're banging carts. Someone's always in the middle of the aisle, confusedly trying to figure out if they need to go left or right and blocking about 11 people from walking through. And while you're in line, they're going to ask if you want a credit card.
A 72-pound Parmigiano Reggiano cheese wheel. Shipped in from the same pallets as the pizza oven. This is imported from Italy. It's extravagant. And Rose
24 months
gave
old?
it 5 stars and said, very tasted.
How long, Matt, would it take you to eat 72 pounds of Parmigiano Reggiano?
It really depends.
Okay.
How sad am I? I think I can knock that out in an afternoon. I'm going to say this is $4.99.
$4.99. Ooh, that's a lot of cheddar.
$499.
I'm gonna just say 600. I don't know.
You're both way lowballing. It is $949.
Oh, wow.
Moving on to the next one, we have
Plaza Ostra caviar, 1 kilo. It includes thermal caviar tote and 2 custom large mother of pearl spoons.
Did you know that sturgeons is one of the closest relatives to dinosaurs?
You know, so are pill bugs.
That's fair.
Matt, did you just agree with? No, pill bugs haven't evolved since like before dinosaurs. Dinosaurs didn't turn into little tiny pill bugs.
They got big ones.
Yo, imagine a dinosaur-sized pill bug. Aaron, please don't Photoshop that. I will say, I think I tried caviar once, and it was salty and nasty, and I didn't like it. Maybe I'm just not fancy enough.
No, I'm thinking this is going to be like $10,000.
Yeah, because a normal size, like 1 ounce of caviar, I want to say was like $90 or
Yeah,
something.
like-
I don't think it's that much, but I think it's going to be a lot. I'm going to say it's
But this includes a mother of pearl spoon.
$2,200 is my guess.
What?
$2,200.
No, I'm sticking with my 10.
Austin is spot on. It's 2,000.
Matt has never visited the cost company.
Yeah.
He doesn't know what he's talking about. That's why you should subscribe to Austin Evans. I'm actually going to now just hijack every This Is video. Matt's not wrong on the Austin Evans channel. So if you want some high quality entertainment, subscribe to Dinky.
What? the Jammin' Hybecacle.
The Jamon Iberico Beota ham leg with stand and knife.
Each pig freely roams on a minimum of 2.5 acres each.
This is like the Costco gift you give to someone who you don't really like, but you want their inheritance one day.
This looks like a prop that you'd put in a butcher shop or a restaurant.
Can I take a guess?
Yeah.
I'm gonna say it is $218.
I'm gonna say $85.
What? Matt, you are a goddamn lunatic.
$90.
$90? I think you're too low.
You know how, Matt? You know how you were suggested to double it? It is $420, baby.
$420? Yeah, because you have to be high in order to get this thing.
My fancy is Supreme Doritos Locos Taco.
I would say my fancy is that I've recently made the switch from Kraft mac and cheese to Velveeta.
Ooh.
Yeah, guys, I make that shells and cheese money now.
Oh no, not
Sloan
wine.
Estates Bordeaux Blend 2017. This uninhibitedly rich and extraordinary pure wine is beautiful raw expression of our terrier.
Can I actually propose a revolutionary idea for this one? Should we consensus vote on this? Because I don't think either of us have any idea. It's got to be expensive. And honestly,
Yeah.
it's probably they charge per fancy word.
I'm going to say $9,600.
Whoa. Okay, I'm not going to agree with you at all on that. Are you locking that in?
No. I'm going to say $325.
I'm going to say $700.
It is $579.
Oh, that's actually pretty close in between us.
Yeah.
Our consensus could have worked if we would have just met in the middle. The Kyoto Nokori M980 Center D massage chair. This is a full-length neck to glutes massage. It has feet rollers and reflexology, a touchscreen tablet remote and voice command, TrueFit body scanning and footrest extension, because don't you want this chair to scan your body?
Help me out because you didn't go to college. Didn't you say if you had gone to college, you would have studied reflexology?
The fuck are you talking about?
Sharper Image does sell one of these. That's why I think I got this one on
Okay, go for it.
lockdown.
Go for it.
$4,500.
I'm going to say $9,000.
It is $8,000.
What are you guys doing?
They sell $12,000 massage chairs. The bigger and the more like piston-y
You can get that one
airbags.
chair that's got the monitors that come down. That Lou's
No,
got.
you're not gonna be just like.
What if you combine the two?
Ew. Don't do that. You're supposed to relax. You're not supposed to play Fortnite on your massage chair.
Evolution Spa's 7-person spa. This thing weighs 800 pounds empty.
How much is a hot tub though?
I'm gonna say 9,000 for that.
9,000. Oh, this seems a little high to me. I think you can probably get a hot tub for like $3,000.
Matt, you are spot on. It is literally 9,000.
Matt, if you properly take care of your hot tub, I'll come hang out. It would be a 1-person hot tub.
Mine
I think it's called a
mine
bathtub.
would be a 1.5 person one. You still gonna come visit me?
How big is the half? Because I might.
I got a lap.
Ooh, the dynamic La Sagrada 6-person ultra low EMF far infrared indoor sauna. Okay.
So one of the people that you hung out with, probably your stinky cousin, is not gonna be allowed to be in the sauna.
My question is, why is it ultra low EMF far infrared? That just seems like some wibbly wobbly, like sweating I get. EMF and ultraviolet therapy.
It's vibrating the stress away.
You're vibrating my stress away. We gotta make a guess. How much is the dynamic La Grada 6-person sauna?
12,000.
Woo! I'm gonna say this is $6,000.
It is 5,000.
What?
I'm just realizing Costco makes me feel poor.
Yeah. If you have a receding hairline like someone sitting next to me, I restore professional to the 282 laser hair growth bundle. Are you one of our frequent commenters? You're probably malding. It's hands-free, lightweight, and there's 282 medical-grade lasers and LEDs to stimulate hair follicles, so your head's gonna be gorgeous. Expect to see visible results and a fuller hair in roughly 3 to 6 months, which is roughly 3 months past the return date.
Policy. My gut is that this is absolute nonsense.
I think it's snake oil,
but I'll give this a very generous benefit of the doubt that it actually does something. But I don't think it's gonna be that expensive.
I'm gonna say this is gonna be $282.
Okay, well, that's pretty cool.
$1 for every LED for the buck.
969.
Jesus Christ! You could just buy a wig at that point.
15-foot pre-lit radiant micro LED artificial Christmas tree. Do you consider yourself to be a festive individual?
Yeah.
The fact that it's 15 foot definitely puts it in a category of only rich assholes who shop at Costco are gonna buy it. On top of that, the fact that it has 6,000 LEDs and they are micro LEDs. So I've seen some trees that come pre-lit, but this is a whole other level. I'm gonna say, Matt, this is gonna be a $1,800 Christmas tree. And I think I might be undershooting that.
I'm gonna say, because this is 278 pounds, which is, I'm gonna say this is $1,200.
Austin was like dead on. It is $17.99.
Like, what?
What if we go to BJ's, Matt? Would that make you feel better?
Can I get a Pazuki?
Hello and welcome to This Is. Today we got some gaming console myths, like, did the FBI make a mind-controlling arcade game?
Yes, they did, because we made our very first episode of This Is all about the myth of Polybius, which is actually a myth and not actually a
Yeah, this is totally an urban legend. So
Whoa.
in 1981, supposedly the government placed some arcade cabinets in Portland, Oregon. The game was said to be so addictive that people would fight over who got to play next. And it was reportedly causing hallucinations, amnesia, insomnia, seizures, and night terrors.
There were lots of arcade cabinets that were put in test markets, and seeing things come and go, maybe not with final branding, it's not outside the realm of possibility that people got a little punchy on the real reason behind the mind-controlling arcade cabinet, especially when there were stories back in the 80s of kids like, you know, gaming for hours and hours and hours and actually having like seizures and stuff because they didn't eat or drink for 10 hours at a time or something.
This is my favorite part of the story. All they had was like orange soda and Coke for like 3 days straight. And they got so constipated that they had to go to the hospital.
Oh, okay.
So
That's not where I
because
thought
they
that was going.
couldn't poop their pants, now there's a mind-controlling arcade cabinet. This one's debunked. Let's see what the next one is.
Do PlayStations have a kill switch? This is not a myth that I had heard before we started doing research for this video, but supposedly, especially in Japan, there was a lot of myths that Sony, and specifically for the PlayStation division, were putting in sort of planned obsolescence with their consoles.
So the reason this was connected to the PlayStation was because the batteries in the PS3 and PS4s, it was the CMOS battery, and those started to die, and when they were dead, they couldn't connect to the PlayStation network.
The idea was was is that if at some point in the future PSN no longer works and you didn't have that CMOS battery that was charged, your console wouldn't know the date, wouldn't be able to activate, wouldn't be able to really do much of anything. Again, like most myths, there were kernels of truth here in that if they didn't fix some of these things, PS3s and PS4s would die at some point. But even though I might not be the biggest fan of some of Sony's decisions when it comes to business, I don't think that they are as nefarious as this to put a hidden kill switch inside their consoles.
I mean, they're not Apple with their iPhones.
Okay, Matt, that's not a game console myth.
That's not a game
tech
console myth, but you know what is a game console myth? Did blowing into the NES or SNES cartridges fix them? No.
Absolutely.
But yes.
Of course it did.
Like, so did blowing into them help with them loading? It absolutely did, but it wasn't the actual blowing that made this work. So most people assume the trick worked because they were cleaning dust from the contacts.
Yeah.
But the NES had a weird connection method that required zero insertion force. It's
Ziff,
kind of like,
as the kids say.
yeah, they wanted it to feel springy, which was cool, especially on the SNES when you had that awesome push button spring. However, this caused the connections to kind of bend and wear out quickly. If you had just unplugged it, plugged it back in without blowing on it, probably would have fixed it regardless of blowing on it. Now, moisture from your breath could actually help with the connection.
And that's the crazy thing that I think actually makes this myth a little bit realistic because, you know, if your game's not working, you blow on it, you put it in, you're immediately going to think it works. But part of the reason for that was there's condensation in your breath. Having a little bit of extra moisture on the pens could help to bridge those electrical connections. It's also a little bit of a superstitious kind of thing, so people have just kind of continued to do it.
You know, it's not superstition, this next myth.
Can you fix the Xbox 360 Red Ring of Death with towels? I'm sad to say that I feel we actually have to explain what the Red Ring of Death is because some people weren't alive when that happened. So the OG model of the Xbox 360 that launched in 2005 had what was known as the Red Ring of Death, which is essentially an issue of overheating due to a couple of technical problems when they actually were producing the consoles, which would basically mean that after a while, your console would lock up, you get the 3 little red rings, Dunzo. It was over. That is not a myth. That was 100% a fact, and it was hugely costly to Microsoft. But what was how to fix it using the towel trick. As a naive, however old I was, teenager, traded in all of my like PSP, most every video game I had to my local video game store in order to buy a used Xbox 360. And it get the Red Ring of Death about a month after I did that. I took it back to them and they fixed it by, I think, doing the towel trick.
Can you tell me what the towel trick was?
Yeah. Overheat the out of your Xbox.
So basically you wrapped it in a towel.
Let it get super hot, let it reflow the solder, let it warp things back into place. The thing was, this actually did kind of work, but it kind of worked in the way that you can slow your car down by running into a brick wall. The problem, though,
but it wasn't a fix.
It was not a fix. In fact, it was very likely to end up killing your Xbox entirely once you did this a few times.
So the myth that it was a fix is busted. Can you install Windows 10 on the Xbox One or Series X?
The thing is that while the Xbox One and the Series X are based on, it used to be like Windows, I think 8, now it's like Windows 10.
Yeah. The hardware is coded. It's the Southbridge, Northbridge, they're proprietary designs. So they don't make drivers that work with Windows 10 for the Xbox.
It's based on that same kind of architecture. It is so heavily locked down that there's no way for us as mere mortals to do it. Now, if Microsoft wanted to, I feel very confident they could make this happen. But why would they? And why would they undercut PC sales with the Series X at $500 that racks everything at $1,500?
I will admit that I am the idiot who believed this one. Next slide, please. Are there Halo Easter eggs in all of the Xbox consoles? Can you tell me about this, Austin Evans?
Yes, I can, because I think I was one of the first people to find these. So it began in the Xbox One S. I believe it was on the Fan Shroud or the Power Supply or something, but there's a little Master Chief Easter egg there. I remember I was really excited because that was one of those first moments where we found something that was really exclusive and that no one had figured it out. And then it went viral with people just screenshotting my video and not
tagging you in it?
Yeah. But yeah, the Series S and the Series X, and I actually have multiple things. So they actually put a lot of Easter eggs inside these consoles. I know because I open a lot of Xboxes. But actually, this is not a myth. This is 100% confirmed. Microsoft are crafty little boogers. The next one is, does Nintendo create artificial scarcity for their consoles? Now, you might walk down the street and see your local Target out of Switch OLEDs, out of Switch lights, not selling the new 3DS XL. They should still make it. But the thing is, I don't believe that this myth is true. Now, it's a complicated thing. It's hard to say. Like, making and manufacturing consoles is difficult, and Nintendo, one of the very few companies who actually profit off of the sale of consoles, it is very difficult, especially with supply chains as they are now, to keep stuff like Switches in stock. Because, let's face it, people are absolutely still crazy about the Switch, even though it has been out for 5 years now.
Yeah, that's absurd to me. People just really like the Switch, and they're buying them up left and right. It's the #1 selling console in the world.
And you have to kind of keep into context, right? The Switch came after the Wii U, which was a historically horrible flop that Nintendo really wishes that you would completely forget about. So it's understandable that they were a little bit sort of slow on the Wii. And to be fair, I don't know why Nintendo gets singled out. Sony's no better. Microsoft's only slightly better. I mean, it's a hard business to decide. Are you going to make, $100 million worth of PS5s or $100 billion?
Yeah, especially when we're in a chip shortage. If they were artificially doing this, they would jack up the prices. To be fair, I think the Switch should be about $50 less across the board, but that's just my opinion.
I mean, 100 million people disagree with you.
I agree that they disagree. But you know what we don't disagree with? We can all agree on our next myth.
Does Pikachu hate Sony?
I was gonna do that one, but no.
That's fine. Hey You Pikachu was a game for the N64 where it had the microphone and you could talk to Pikachu. It was incredibly rudimentary, right? Even for its time, it was very limited. And the rumor was that if you said Sony or PlayStation, Pikachu would get mad. And to be fair, that did kind of happen sometimes. We also could say like the word like bread and Pikachu might get mad. Like it was just so rudimentary.
What it probably was frustration from Pikachu not understanding what you're actually trying to say.
Yeah, and in fact, later on, when the game was actually decompiled, it was found that there were no Sony or PlayStation. This just was not a real thing.
They weren't even in his list of vocabulary.
But you know what
probably just frustrated this tiny little AI brain.
You know what it was in his vocabulary?
What?
Our next myth. How Sega has killed its console business with the most expensive game of all time.
Many people blame that Shenmue was the reason that Dreamcast failed because it was so expensive and failed to break even. You know what really killed the Dreamcast? There's no type of like copy protection on any of the discs.
Because they were like 1 gig CDs or something.
It was just it was just a base CD. Everyone I knew who had a Dreamcast had a massive collection. They never bought games for it.
Yeah. Other thing was, specifically when it was related to Shenmue. So this was an expensive game for the time, right? And it was a very unique looking title. But the thing is, while it was expensive, the estimates kind of put it maybe between like $45 to $70 million. Shenmue was expensive, but the Dreamcast was doomed to failure far before this actually came out. The other thing was, there were other issues that sort of kept the Dreamcast from reaching its full potential because Nintendo and Sony were really starting to dominate the space. Sega had kind of been a little bit on the back foot really since the Saturn had failed to kind of take off. The Dreamcast had everything going against it, and it inevitably crashed and burned, and we got the Xbox.
Did Atari make an ET game so bad that they buried millions of cartridges in the desert?
When I hear the word gaming myths, this is, and I think will always be, #1 because this was an absolutely massive urban legend. So to set the stage, back in the early 80s, this was really the peak of home console gaming, right? So the Atari 2600 was huge and there were big dollars flowing around, but there was trouble looming because one of the issues with the Atari games was that they were turning quickly into shovelware. They were just literally shovelware.
Anyone could develop anything for any system. There was no quality control. Anyone could make whatever the hell they wanted for these devices.
So with shovelware on the rise and Atari getting incredibly punchy by doing things like creating 12 million copies of the Pac-Man game when they had only sold 10 million consoles, and then there was stuff like E.T., which was a huge movie tie-in, Atari was convinced that they were going to just make an absolute pile of money on it, and because of that, they forced a single guy to make the whole game in like 5 weeks, and it was terrible, widely regarded as one of the worst games of all time. So you've got the stage where Atari are making horrible financial decisions, printing more games than they have made consoles to play said games. So Atari, in the dead of night, took millions of games, or at least hundreds of thousands of these unsold cartridges, dumped them in a landfill, never to be seen again. Now, this seems so outrageous and ridiculous that it was not believed until 2014, in which, for a documentary, they excavated at the site that it supposedly happened, and they found the games. And in fact, I think actually a lot of them got like sort of authenticated and sold. I'd love to have one of these games because that'd be awesome to have in a collection. It's a wild story.
For the longest time, this was along the lines of, oh, my uncle at Nintendo told me X, whatever. So, like, I mean, the myth that they buried. Millions is probably debunked. This is crazy to find out something such a big urban legend.
Over 20 years later.
This would be along the same lines of imagine if Plebius turned out to be real that we found out like recently.
Imagine.
That would be crazy. What is this phone? What is this? Hello and welcome to Here's a bunch of phones that were better than the iPhone. Number 1, we have the Galaxy Round. So, we're doing this thing like we did in the last video where we have to argue which phones are better than the iPhone, except we don't know which phones that we've been given by Kinsey.
Regardless, we all know that the Galaxy Round was bad and Matt is wrong.
It curved in a way that people's faces didn't...
Are you trying to tell me that I have a curved face right now? Okay, actually, I have a curved face.
Yeah.
You're right, yeah.
I don't know. This thing was basically a Note 3, but without the stylus, which is what made the Note cool. This is dumb. I can't argue this one. I like how we keep saying we need to argue that these are better, and then all of them are like, this is dumb.
You need more salesmanship.
Sell me on this next one.
Okay, so the LG Flex is quite possibly the most innovative phone that was ever designed. You know why your Galaxy Round was folded the wrong direction? This is folded the correct direction, which is the Flippy Boy direction. Now, there are a bunch of other things, including the battery was actually very revolutionary because it actually had a bunch of rigids in it, so that the battery itself would actually curve with the phone. A lot of very cutting edge technology from Lucky Gold Star.
Wait. Lucky Gold Star.
Yeah.
Okay.
They started as a Korean electronics repair company or something, and they expanded into the conglomerate that they are today.
You know what was a Lucky Gold Star? This next phone. LG Prada.
Yo, you actually
know
got
what?
it.
All
LG.
right. So this was an actual collab with Prada in 2006. This was pretty expensive, like all Prada things are. Back before smartphones, there was a lot of companies that were doing like boutique and like jewelry.
Nokia
and,
used to do a lot.
Nokia had
yeah.
like they wanted their phones to be like a fashion statement.
Yeah.
And so the Prada phone was basically that. It won like fashion awards, but as far as like a cell phone goes, it was really expensive, and there was like nothing that went for it for being a smartphone.
$777 for a Prada phone seems like a bargain. I honestly think it's probably about $1,000 too cheap, and people clearly missed the boat.
My favorite part about this is people thought that Apple stole the idea of the smartphone.
They did.
From the LG Prada.
Matt, you might try to sell me on some high-end luxury goods that I clearly don't need, but you know what was actually better than the iPhone? The no phone. So here's the thing, right? Cell phone addiction is real, friends. Matt was just telling me in the car not but 30 minutes ago that he has phantom vibrations. He's always hearing, the vibration of his phones. You know what would get rid of that?
I was saying that was like a cry for help, and now you're using it for clicks?
I would never do something like that. So here's the thing. The no phone was exactly what it said on the 10. A $12 Kickstarter all the way back in 2014. Successfully funded twice, but it is literally just a plastic slab. Now, this might seem ridiculous, and it is, but I would argue that if you're not going to use an iPhone, the only alternative is a no phone because, let's be real, you could be productively spending time with your 7-year-old stepson and enjoying the little bit of great relationship that you have left because you've spent all your time on TikTok. And you're not doing that right now. Instead, you're watching this video and you're subscribing to the channel and you're liking the video and you're leaving a ring-a-ling on the ding-a-ling bell to let the algorithm know. And none of that would be necessary if you're just using the no phone.
I guarantee there's going to be at least one comment of someone like, I would rather have the no phone than anything Apple.
That's probably the person in our analytics who's watching this video on a Nintendo DSi.
Correct. We have those people. But you know what we don't have? The Yada Phone 2. Why do I get all the bad ones? In 2015, the Yada Phone 2 was the second model of e-ink display phones. So basically, people realized that e-ink is not a good display for a phone. It had two screens, one on the front, one on the back. So basically, you could turn off the regular front-facing screen and just use the e-ink screen and get like days of battery life. Even with the e-ink display, the battery life wasn't all that amazing.
This seems like an interesting idea, but clearly, it's inferior to the iPhone. You know what was better? Than not only the iPhone, but every other piece of technology that we've ever seen. The HTC Dream, aka the T-Mobile G1. This is one that I don't have to actually make up a bunch of stuff on the spot for. This was the first commercially available Android phone, and it had a lot going for it, including a beautiful design that truly has stood the test of time. It also, of course, as the beginning of Android, had all of the features you expect, like a screen and buttons. What more could you ask for? In fact, this was so popular that for many years, modders and developers would keep this thing running. They got all the way up to Android 4.1 in 2012, which would be like installing Windows 8 on a Game Boy.
Look here, you know what's the actually superior phone to the iPhone? We have The HTC One M7 was released in 2013, and this is one of the best phones that's ever been made ever. We got a lot of comments in the last video where I said that not too many phones have front-facing stereo speakers. There are plenty of phones that have stereo speakers. There are plenty of phones that have front-facing speakers. There are very few phones that have front-facing stereo speakers, and I will die on this hill. This was an all-aluminum body. Metal phones were just, oh, this is so much better than the cheap plastic-feeling ones from the Samsung. It had the Beats audio, front-facing stereo speakers.
Can I say that the HTC One M7 was my daily phone? Is still one of my favorite Android phones of all time.
The gold version of this made me feel things.
It's been a long time, and we're all very proud of you. You know what was even better than not only the iPhone, not only the Samsung Galaxy, not only even the Z Flip, dare I say, the Nokia N9. So
I have no idea what this phone is.
Okay, so here's the thing. So this is a Linux-based operating system that Nokia developed that only landed on this one device, and they gave up on it because Windows was a thing. It had this cool kind of plastic design.
The bezels on it are impressive for 2011.
It was, quote, the most significant Nokia since the N95. Shout out to our last episode of phones that are better than the iPhone.
I will say the design language looks an awful lot like Android.
So here's the thing. Migo, literally, they helped to develop it. It launched on this phone, but then everyone really realized that the writing was on the wall before it even came out, and the phone didn't really go anywhere. But honestly, the N9, better than Android, better than the iPhone, better than your mom's cordless phone that has a 3-pound battery and lets you talk to Becky for only 10 minutes at a time before
Becky
you run out of
is
long distance.
the worst. But you know what wasn't the worst? The HTC HD2, released in 2009. It was a Windows Mobile 6.5, and it was originally supposed to be Windows Phone 7. However, they just said, no, we're not going to continue it. But the modding community stepped up. All these modders put pretty much every OS under the sun on this thing. We had Windows Phone 8, Firefox OS, Android 7.1. We had a PS1 emulator on this.
This was the swan song of Windows Mobile 6.5. Windows Mobile 6.5 was ancient. Like, it was hardly even designed for touchscreens. And the fact that they put it on such a relatively modern piece of hardware was super impressive. But this phone really wasn't great out of the box. It really was great because of the modding community and what they all did. But you know what was great? Straight out of the box, no modifications necessary.
What's that?
The Sidekick LX 2009. Now, you may not remember the days of the Sidekick, but this was an incredibly revolutionary series of phones. It also was the last of the Sidekicks to have this swivel screen. Matt, do you remember the swivel screen?
Yeah, I had a Sidekick. I had one of these because for a glorious, summer, basically phones either had, a smartphone plan or they had a texting plan, and for, a few months, carriers didn't know what to do with it.
Yep.
So you could get one of these Sidekicks without any type of cell service, and it would still be able to do data. So you could get AIM, and you could text people with AIM, rest in peace, for free. I missed the Sidekick more than I missed most of my relatives.
Well, it was loaded with everything you needed, including Twitter, Facebook, and MySpace.
My top 8. You know what an honor it was to be in Matt Ancini's top 8? All 12 of my friends fought over that. Look. But now I gotta argue that this next one is the best out of all of them, and that is the yes! Yes! The Sidekick 4G. Unfortunately, this is probably the worst of the Sidekicks. It was the return to cool teen branding.
It was basically just an Android phone that they slapped Sidekick badging on. They tried to skin it a little bit to be like a Sidekick.
Yeah.
This wasn't a real Sidekick. You know what was a real Sidekick? A good companion for your life, Matt? It was the Yahoo ZTE Blade. I actually have had the distinct privilege and honor of trying this phone in person.
We tested it on the This Is episode that you can see right
You
here.
keep forgetting it's on my side, not your side.
It doesn't matter when we go to my single shot.
Okay, well, speaking of single shots, Matt Ancini, ladies and gentlemen. All right, so the ZTE Blade is a purple beauty. It is incredibly attractive with the carbon fiber-esque striped finish. This thing was $50 with the $40 a month contract.
We tested this thing out, and we determined that $50 was about $45 too expensive for this thing. We couldn't even activate it.
To actually activate it, you have to go, Yahoo! And then it would work, but you just didn't do that.
But you know what we were able to activate? What is this phone? What is this? Wait!
Sega's!
The Sega V2. So not only is there one of these things. There's 2 of these pieces of shit.
There are not.
This is the only one? This was supposed to be a Galaxy Note killer. So the CEO embezzled around $10 million from investor and was charged with security fraud. So this is just a giant scam.
No, but it had a 2.5 gigahertz processor, Matt. Your phone...
2 micro SD card slots.
Of
Does your
course-
phone have a micro SD card slot?
It sure don't. But you know what does have a micro SD card slot? The ROG Phone 2, which I think actually does have
I think that actually
micro
does have a
SD.
card.
So here's the thing. This one's an easy one. I don't even have to spin a tall tale. You know the gaming phones are important. You know the gaming phones are all the rage when it comes to gaming on your phone. But this had a ton of stuff going for it. 120 hertz display, air triggers, which were actual triggers that were capacitive on the top, a excellent cooling fan attachment right out of the box. It was big, it was chunky.
Are you saying big and chunky things are great?
You know what? I take that back. The ROG phone was a failure and it was no good.
It was big and heavy, just like me. But you know, it wasn't big and heavy just like me.
You're setting yourself up for these segues. I'm just saying, like, you're walking into
Yeah,
these.
but because when they work, they're great, but then most of the time they just don't work. My intuition failed me on this one. So released in 2012, this was more of a Galaxy Note killer than an iPhone killer. It had a 4:3 aspect ratio, which is kind of weird.
It was LG in their decades-long quest of being weird, unique, and not particularly better.
And we all know that all LG phones have gone on to become the best phones that are currently on the market.
Oh, my favorite phones are LGs, especially the 2022
The
slate.
2022 LG models are really
Boy.
kicking out there.
Well, you know what's even better than 2022 LG phones?
Yeah.
It's the Galaxy S4 Zoom. All right, so I gotta put on my oversized shirt, get in front of a green screen to talk about this one. Essentially, this was merging the best parts of a smartphone with a real point-and-shoot camera. Imagine, Matt, in the palm of your hand, in the pocket of your jeans, a full-fledged point-and-shoot camera with a slightly less mediocre lens and camera system than your already existing smartphone. This thing was huge. It was unwieldy. It had a 10 times zoom. And on top of that, it looked like a camera, but it had...
I don't care
Instagram
about any
Snapseed.
of that. Who cares about this phone? What we want to know is your story behind this phone.
I was at a Samsung event, and to be fair, this was the Galaxy camera, and they had a beautiful green screen setup, and I happened to be wearing a slightly oversized dress shirt because I was trying to be
Oversized
professional.
and like pearlescent silver. You know how when I first started here and I was like really respectful to you and
That lasted 5
you
minutes.
showed me that video
And then that was over.
and it was all downhill from there.
Look, we all have our awkward early 20s phase, right?
You were like 12 in that. At least you look 12.
I do math.
I mean, you only look 15 now, but you know what doesn't look 15 because it's aged so gracefully? We have
No, that's it. We're done.
nothing else. How old is this tech item? The first motion controller. We're going to take a look at some products, and we're going to have to try and figure out when the actual first time that this first motion controller was invented. Now, it could be 2003 or whatever, or it could be like 1940 when some weird one was invented.
No. So here, Matt, here's the thing. Because we're going head-to-head, I'm going to be the most annoying, pedantic person in the world because I'm going to ask for so many clarifications. Kinsey, what do you mean by first motion controller? Is this for a video game?
Yes.
Is this for... Okay, video game motion controller.
All right, so I know that
You
I
throw
know
a
this
guess
not for me.
already?
I'm ready for this because if you remember, I was the one who used to look this up. I'm gonna destroy you. I'm gonna say right off the bat. I don't even need to deliberate. I'm gonna say 1983.
Oh.
No.
You said it. He said it.
Yeah,
Does that
okay,
count?
all right.
I think 1983 is a close answer. However, that makes no sense because nothing came out in 1983. Either it would be NES era, which would be 85, 86, 87. I'm going to say 1977.
Yeah, I'm gonna say 83.
The fun thing about this is that you're both right in a way.
What? What? No.
So
no.
the Mind Link. I don't think this is considered motion control. This was mind control. And I just beat Pac-Man with that. I don't think the Mind Link is considered motion control.
No, because it used your eyebrows. It wasn't like you're using your brainwaves. You're like,
It's motion of your face.
Matt. I win.
But what is actually the first motion controller is the Sega Heavyweight Champ from 1976. It was an arcade game, featured a bunch of plastic boxing gloves attached to the cabinet with controls inside. Eat your heart out, Mike Tyson's Punch-Out Champ. You can move up and down, you can go high punches, you can go low punches, you can push inward to punch. You just kind of go like, hey-ya! Kinsey, this is a pretty simple lever action. Is this really the first motion control?
So alternatively,
Listic. I'm going to beat you, Listic.
The Listic was for the Atari 2400. The controller was only made for a few games. It could detect tilt, so you could play it like with pinball and stuff like that. I'm gonna argue that this is more motion control than the other one. Because on games like Asteroids, where you have to push the joystick forward, it was a little awkward, but it still was tilt. I think I get the point for this.
Fine, I'll concede. This is straight motion. The
10
other one...
points to Matt.
10?
Yeah, Matt wins it with Listic.
Matt, you better stay away from Listic.
Matt has 20 points. Moving on to the next one. The firstwish.com.
Oh, no.
My time to shine.
No.
For the record, we have slides in front of us. It's just firstwish.com. Smiley face. I'm just going to go ahead and grab this book here for no reason. This may or may not have been from an old version of This Is, which you can catch right up here. I'm just going to be reading while you deliberate what you think your wrong answer is.
Okay. If we're strictly speaking about the actual wish.com, I'm going to guess 2009. But if we're talking about the first scam, like BS kind of website, I'm going to just throw out a website-based answer, 1997. I'm just going to say that because Matt's going to say 1884 when Sears was announced.
Let me just
Some
get
banjos?
a banjo. From the Great Price Maker catalog, I'm going to go 1886.
Can I make a third guess that does not count anyway?
Nope.
Because it's
Yes.
going to say it's like 1242,
Yes,
which is like
yeah.
some pauper wrote out a fake like wish listing and then someone bought something.
I knew it! but I know.
Your version of wish.com is just an old complaint.
it's the oldest documented ripoff.
This was written to a merchant named E. Nasir. He was supposed to be sold copper ingots. However, the copper was substandard, and Nani claimed that his servant has been treated rudely during the transaction, just like you're treated rudely when you don't get your item from wish.com. Other tablets have been found in his dwelling, including another complaining about not receiving copper, and another thing about being tired of bad copper. Matt gets no points for that because
What are you talking?
he was
I get
thousands of
roughly
years off.
3,574 BC points for that one because I wiped the floor with
I'm
you.
sorry to say,
I
Matt,
was so much closer than you.
Inflation has meant that that is 0.001 point or a quarter of an copper ingot. The first Touch ID.
There's a very big difference of fingerprint IDing and fingerprint like biometric. Those are two very different things.
So we're going to have to get around Kenzie's skullduggery and her shenanigans and our podiatrist.
Podiatrist is a foot doctor, FYI. Do you have a foot
Pedantry.
fetish?
Maybe I need my bunions to be sanded. I don't know what you do with feet. Anyway, foot ID.
Did you just say foot ID? Again, look, you're all hearing this too, right? Do you still have those sandals from when we scammed Goodwill, which you can watch right over here?
You mean the ones that have the colon button? Yes,
Yeah.
I do. All right. So first Touch ID, I believe, was the Motorola Atrix. Had a very crappy fingerprint sensor on the top of the phone that you had to like swipe. And that was 2011. So I'm going to say 2011.
If we're going to talk about purely on like a device, we had laptops in the 80s with it. But I'm going to go 1600.
What the fuck is wrong with you, Matt? What? 1600?
Medieval fingerprint recognition. To get into this secret society of the Knights of the Round Table, you had to show your fingerprint, which was encased in like a resin mold, which was then pressed into the ring of the table, and you all pressed your fingers to it, and that's how Sir
Oh,
Arthur.
sorry. What? Are you still talking? Oh.
I'm right on this.
So
We can all be right.
no,
We can all
cannot.
be right. In 500 BC, fingerprints were used on tablets like signatures for Babylonian business transactions. One could argue it's the first Touch ID. That is a point for Matt. Electronic remote fingerprint identification, 1916.
So the Danish police published a book on encoding single fingerprints using Morse code to detail various features. The information could then be sent to telegraphs, telephones, or radio to facilitate IDs. And the FBI actually drawn this research to actually create computerized fingerprint recognition. So 1916 sounds a little closer, but 1975 is when the first digital fingerprint scanner was created by the FBI. So 1975 was the first digital fingerprint scanner. In 1994, Lockheed Martin got the FBI contract to develop their main fingerprint ID system and was operational by 1999. The big problem with the early fingerprint sensors, the digital images were so impractically huge that no one could handle a 16 kilobyte GIF file on their computer.
In 2002, a Seattle supermarket became the first to use fingerprint scanning tied to debit cards as a payment method. If you wanted to steal your partner's credit card, all you had to do was chop off their finger. Also in 2002, a Japanese hacker demonstrated how to use gelatin and digital imaging to fool fingerprint scanners with an 80% success rate. I feel like I'm right 3 times there because all of my answers were closer than yours. You said 2011.
Yeah, and you said 1600, which means that anything past 1800 means I'm right.
We're doing Price is Right rules.
You just said we weren't going to do that.
Still sounds like I'm
No,
more right
3 of the
than
4 answers mean that I'm right. I get 3/4 of a point.
Time is relative, okay? You were thinking of it like, oh, it's a modern thing. I said it was a much older thing. It's not the exact dates. It's the eras. I can think of it broad. I can see the 4D chess here that's going back eons and eras.
I never play D&D with you.
Kinsey, do I get all 12 points? Say yes and we'll move on.
Don't let him hold you hostage like that. Have more faith and confidence in yourself.
How about the first touchscreen?
The first touchscreen, which of course was Steve Jobs' invention because no one had ever touched a screen before.
You do
Steve Jobs
realize
said
that things happened before the year 2000, right?
What's the laser things that would like run across a screen so it would like detect where you had like touched it? That was actually like a 70s or an 80s invention.
I'm gonna get creative with mine. I'm gonna say in the 50s. Not a actual touchscreen like this one.
Okay.
But one of those like the magnetic toys where the pen would have a little magnet in it.
Oh, it would detect where the magnet is?
Yeah, and you can draw on it.
I will give you a decade-long answer. I'm going to say the 1970s.
70s? Okay.
Yeah.
50s versus 70s.
1946! It was a stylus that would add the original signal of an intermediate CRT when placed on the display, which is used to draw circles and arrows over live sports broadcasts. That's pretty close. That actually sounds exactly right.
And then the next one.
Ooh, 1965 was the first finger-driven touchscreen. Your finger is the conductor and it disrupts the capacitance of that top layer to essentially show where the touchscreen is being used. I could argue pedantically, podiatristly, that the finger-driven touchscreen was the actual one in 1965. I'm going to give this to you, Matt.
I'm going to say I am the most correct, but I think I'm going to give you the point for this one because yours is the most modernly accurate.
Are you giving me a pity point for being kind of okay
No,
on
I
this
just
one?
feel like arguing with you, so like...
What? You can't even let me give it to you?
Fine,
Well, then,
50 points to Matt.
Anyway, why Matt is even more wrong is that the first touchscreen phone was actually in 1994. It was the IBM Simon personal computer. It was a decade ahead of its time. It was actually kind of similar to something like an Apple Newton or maybe like a cell phone or maybe even like a Palm. However, it could receive faxes, emails, had an address book, calculator, notepad with a solid hour of battery life.
So I like how you said it was like all those things, but all of those things that you said it was like, use styluses. So, point to Matt.
I'm going to throw a foot at you. Oh,
The
God.
first online game, 1976.
Care to elaborate?
No. Because I am taking a wild shot in the dark with this one.
1976. Okay, so, I mean, my first thought is something like Doom or Quake, but that's way too late, right? It's going to be something early. It's going to be one of those, like, MIT, like...
I vaguely remember something like Pong or something that was able to be played.
You say 1976?
I'm going to say 1970. I do not know, like...
1965 to be contrary.
Corresponding chess. The Byzantine Empire. So were they just mailing each other like
C2 to C5 or whatever.
back and forth? That had to have taken years to play.
Yeah. Well, it's okay because they're rulers and they could have their minions go back and forth.
Did they go to war over this game of chess?
That's actually true. I'm just going to tell you right now.
So we'll get a little bit more realistic and reasonable.
Space
War 1962!
A 2-player space dogfight was meant to demonstrate the technical capabilities of the PDP-1.
This was using 2 players on 1 CRT, so it was basically split screen more so than online gaming.
So while originally it was all on the same CRT, which is not online, there was a small group of programmers who were able to port it over to Plato, which was an early form of the internet.
Basically, they could log into a powerful mainframe and borrow that computing capability on what was a much less powerful system.
So I remember reading about this, which is why I said 1976. I totally guessed at this one, but I did remember reading about this. I think you get the point because you said the 70s. Like, that's when it was actually online.
I said 60, you said 70.
Oh, then I get the point because I'm right.
This is like an actual fair Matt point.
Fair Matt point, which is worth triple, right?
So wait, what's the score now?
So if we add up all the points, because we haven't been keeping track, I'm pretty sure it is 140,000 to 2?
2.5.
Let us know who you think won this competition. I believe it's Matt, but I could have mathed wrong.
You might have been off by a couple thousand years.
Hello and welcome to This Is. Tim Cook has pulled out his scythe and slashed down one of the few remaining products that was an absolute icon, the iPod Touch.
Which means that officially, as of today, the iPod line is officially no more. Which is actually really sad because the iPod Touch second generation was absolutely the device I used to launch my channel. I borrowed $200 from my dad. I bought the iPod for literally 24 hours before I had to return it and give him the money back. And I think I made 18 videos in that 24 hours.
So if you think we're just churning out horrible content now, wait till we start doing 18 videos on a single product again.
Seeing that the iPod Touch is officially no more really got us thinking to a bunch of other products that might be on the Tim Cook hit list. Why don't we take a look at some products that Apple might just kill next, or maybe they should kill next.
They should absolutely kill off this next product. The Magic Mouse, white. But it's $20 more for the black one. And it's the same exact mouse, FYI.
It's Pro? It is the least ergonomic mouse in the history of mousing. You might as well put your hand flat on a surface and just rub it around a bunch, because that's what it feels like after you have carpal tunnel.
In the year of our Lord, 2022, we still have to flip over this piece of shit mouse to charge it. There is not a single redeeming thing about, the gestures, fine. You know what? I'd rather use an iPod Touch as a mouse than the Magic Mouse, because at least I could charge that while using it.
Another product that I think is truly ridiculous that they still sell is the Magic Keyboard. Now, this is a keyboard which is actually okay. It sort of reminds me of like typing on their laptops. However, they are gatekeeping one of the coolest features from the latest Macs, the Touch ID sensor. If you want to have Touch ID on a desktop Mac, too fucking bad, says Tim Cook. It's funny, Mike, actually, my co-host of the highly acclaimed Formula One podcast, The Backmarkers,
which you can see right here.
He recently took apart one of these keyboards to pull the Touch ID sensor out to, put it in an actual keyboard you would want to use. The Touch ID sensor is great, but the downside is the fact that you cannot put it in any other product, which means that while this keyboard is fine if you're a pleb who doesn't care about the tactile surfaces your fingers interact with on a daily basis, if you want that Touch ID, it's too late.
Speaking of segues, the Mac Mini Intel is another product that should go the way of the Buffalo.
Wait, Buffalo still exists.
What? Yeah, they
Plenty
shouldn't
of
be,
them.
though.
You should say like the dodo, the
He means
kiwi
Buffalo,
bird.
New York.
How dare you? It's not my hometown, but it's close to my hometown.
No, it's your imaginary hometown. It's not a real place. It's an 8th gen processor, right? So we're what, 4th generations behind? Now, mind you, when this Mac Mini first came out, it actually was pretty decent. It made sense before the M1 came out. Now the M1 is basically better in every way. The only real reason I can think of as to why this still exists is that if you want to buy a new Intel powered Mac that's not a Mac Pro, this is one of your only options left. So I assume it's more so for people who have to have Intel.
I'm gonna tell you the real reason that this is still on their website is so they can look and say, look at how expensive Intel is, but look at how affordable Apple is. Anyone else looking to buy a Mac Mini should definitely get the M1, and this thing here should go.
You know what also should go? The MagSafe Duo Charger. Now, this is actually a fairly new product. On the surface, it actually seems like a fairly cool idea. On one side, you can wirelessly charge with MagSafe your device, your phone specifically. And on the other side, you can do the Apple Watch. Makes sense, right? Well, about 15 minutes after this came out, they released the newer Apple Watches that have fast charging support, and this doesn't handle it. They also have the audacity to charge you $130 for this. I actually finally upgraded to a 7 not too long ago. Great watch. A lot of really good things about it. However, if you try to put this on one of the older non-fast charging chargers, this will take a couple hours to charge, right? It is incredibly slow. Whereas you put it on a fast charger, it's like 45 minutes.
Just because it's new doesn't mean it's good. Speaking of things that are new but not great, the MagSafe battery pack. Now, I will fully admit that I have one of these. I have tried about 7 different MagSafe battery chargers.
Yeah.
This is my favorite one. It just feels the best in my hand, but there are so many shortcomings to it. One, it's a really small capacity.
Yeah, it's like what, less than
a full charge.
And that's for a mini even.
You could wirelessly charge it from your phone to the battery.
Back to the battery, but only
But not Not with an actual MagSafe charger.
Apple used to make specific battery cases for their devices. The problem with these was that they were very expensive. They only worked on one model of phone, and they usually came out like 6 months after the phones, right? They made no sense. This is a much better idea in theory. However, it's $100, and while it holds on to the back of the device relatively well,
It does hold on the best of any other MagSafe battery that I've tried.
Which makes sense.
Which is key to this.
but there's a lot of weird decisions, especially considering the fact that it's hard to charge. For $100, I think Apple could do better. Speaking of things that they could do better with, how about a polishing cloth? I'm sorry, just give me one moment. I just need to drink some Boss coffee to energize myself for this segment.
I will drink my sugar-free Red Bull to energize myself for this one.
Wow, the Rainbow Mountain Blend, truly, truly delightful. The polishing cloth, my friends. One of the strangest products that Apple sells for a solid $19. Tim Cook will personally deliver you a cloth of the gods.
He won't.
He will hand it to you as you carefully wipe the nano texture glass on your $6,000 Pro Display XDR.
If Tim Cook was personally handing this to me, I could justify that price. I'm going to defend the indefensible. There's zero justifications for a $20 polishing cloth. None whatsoever.
Yeah.
But are all polish, like all are all...
Oral.
I can't. I'm struggling. This is not a bit. I'm struggling to say this.
Coffee?
I'm gonna smack that out of your hand.
How dare you? It's still delicious.
All microfiber cloths are not created equally, but for this guy here, no, don't buy this one from Apple.
Matt, you know what you should buy?
What should I buy? EarPods wired, which is a $19 headphone that they still sell. Here's the thing. None of their damn phones have a headphone jack. I would have said the iPod Touch, except that is no longer continued.
To be fair, you can buy the Lightning version of the EarPods also for $20 on the Apple site.
They're not that good a headphone.
No.
Like the
And they used to be
EarPods
free.
have never been good.
They used to be included in the box.
Don't buy this one.
You know what you should buy? Feet for your Mac Pro. So my friends, let me tell you a little story. Once upon a time, a little boy named Tim Cook sat down for a deep slumber, and when he awoke, he had a vision. He should bring back the Mac Pro. However, in his dream, the Mac Pro kept escaping him. It was truly frightening to him that something on wheels could just roll away. He could design a beautiful, perfect new product, and then Johnny Ive would just push it away, and he'd be so sad. So he decided to have the team develop $300 feet for the Mac Pro. Yes, friends, that's $80-something per foot to make sure that the Mac Pro doesn't just diddly do away.
Why are you always talking feet? You know what's not right? That Apple still sells this next product, which is the Mac Pro wheels.
It's also $700.
Yeah. No one should be paying $700 for wheels like this. YouTubers love to buy the Mac Pro. No YouTuber needs the Mac Pro. Marquez does not need a Mac Pro.
Wow.
He doesn't.
Shots fired.
Yeah. The real companies that are buying this, which is like major like TV studios, to them, an extra $700 for this is pennies in the bucket. So this is where companies can overcharge for stupid accessories. A company's buying, you know, maybe 10, 15 of these things across the company. No one's getting an itemized bill for that. Is it egregious for $700? Yes. Is Apple the only one who does it? Absolutely not.
That's such a good point. A lot of like high-end workstations, the accessories and the little bits and bobs that they add are outrageously expensive. Right? Like you compare the wheels to like, you know, this is the same price as an entire Mac Mini. That seems crazy. But when you get into the high-end $30,000, $40,000 systems, you're completely right. No one pays any attention.
You can go get a $100,000 HP workstation right now. The RAM is triple what it should be when you're doing that. It's fake money on paper that corporations just kind of trade between each other. Everyone thinks that Apple's for nothing but consumers. It's not.
This is for clickbait YouTubers.
Exactly.
Want to make a skateboard out of a Mac Pro.
Yes, but you know
Shout
what's
out
not
Lou.
for clickbait YouTubers? Where actually all this is because we're doing it and we're going to clickbait you into watching this video.
The XDR stand. This goes along with all the other Mac Pro accessories. It's a $1,000 stand for the $5,000 to $6,000 Apple Pro Display XDR. Kind of cool design. I will give them that.
I will say it is the best feeling stand I've ever used.
Absolutely. It's got magnets. It's got sort of tight and adjustment and rotation and stuff, but still, it's a $1,000 stand. Maybe
Everything I just said about the wheels and the feet.
Just copy paste that, please. Yeah, there we go.
I feel like we could say that about pretty much anything Mac Pro related.
Well, but that's the thing. The Mac Pro is such a weird product, and honestly, it doesn't seem like it has a huge future.
They still sell things like outdated graphics cards, like 5500.
so many. Yeah,
which are overpriced to begin with. No one should be buying a Mac Pro right now. It's outdated, it's overpriced, and it's just kind of funneling everyone over to like a Mac Studio.
They definitely want you to buy Mac Studio
Yeah.
right now. You know what else they want you to buy, Matt?
What do they want me to buy? The Lightning to micro USB adapter.
This is actually, fun fact, they had to make this. I believe it was the EU who had a regulation saying that all devices had to be like micro USB for a minute, and then like obviously USB-C took over.
What I find hilarious about that whole story, by the time this actually gets resolved, I feel like we're gonna have like a new standard.
Yeah. I actually think if this was a USB-C to Lightning adapter, it would actually be kind of useful.
Yeah.
If I could just have an adapter on like the end of a cable and not have to think about the stupid Lightning, I actually think it would be kind of cool.
And that's the thing, is you can go on Amazon for $10 and buy one of those cables that has the 3 adapters that are all built onto it, and you can have whatever cable you want. This right here is the epitome of why do they still sell this.
I got a story for you, Matt. So Apple, who sells a wide variety of products, they like to make sure that you are a happy, satisfied customer. Which means that, Matt, if you want to go and buy a power adapter for your iPhone, perhaps an iPad, then they've got a multitude of choices. You know the issue with all of these? They all cost exactly $20. The fact that they still sell the 5-watt adapter that they put in the box with iPhones for like 10 years for $20 is absolutely egregious. Do you know how long, if you have a 5-watt adapter, it would take to charge like a modern iPhone from 0 to 100? It's like 3 or 4 hours. It's something ridiculous.
I know that there's some crazy person in the comment who's gonna be like, yeah, I prefer the 5-watt adapter because when I leave it on to charge overnight, it trickle charges it so that way the battery stays. Shut up. No. Austin, did you know that Apple still sells the Apple TV HD? So not only are they still selling this piece of Amish technology, but they're actively updating it?
Here's the thing. For $150, this is a set-top box, which not only is old and out of date, but it also only supports high definition. For only $30 more, you can get the far newer, far more powerful 4K version. Also, for like $30, you could buy like a 4K Chromecast or something, but Apple has the audacity to charge you $150 for a high-def only box. This is so stupid on so many levels. Like,
Again, there's gonna be that guy in the comments that says, well, my TV doesn't support HD, so I got this one. You know that they downscale, right?
Also, this thing is old and out of date. Spending just a little bit more money will make a far better overall decision, and you don't even have to use the 4K part. Or if you really want a high-def only streaming box, buy a $10 Roku. Like, it's just, this is so stupid.
There's so many other options than this guy here.
You know what else you shouldn't buy, Matt?
What shouldn't we buy?
You should not buy a USB super drive. Now, I am 80% sure, short of some like original MagSafe one, like adapter or something, that this is the oldest product that Apple still sells. It is an $80 CD and DVD drive. This still uses USB-A, mind you. It's weird because not only is this still being sold, it's still actually readily available. You can get it at your local Micro Center. You can get it at pretty much any physical Apple store. And it makes sense because, you know, if you want to be able to use a disc, whatever. But the fact that they have not touched this thing, and I believe over a decade, is crazy to me.
This is the one that I'm going to disagree with you on. There are still plenty of situations where people still need some sort of DVD drive.
But
like,
do you want an $80 Apple one when you could get one that's cheaper that actually does like Blu-ray and stuff?
No, you're right. You're right.
If I'm wrong, please let me know in the comments if there's an older product that Apple still sells directly on their site. This product is older than some of the people watching this video.
Can we go back to that part where you said that this is older than some of our viewers?
Matt, you realize that there's going to be a time in the not too distant future in which this will be older than some of our employees?
I don't like that. You know what I also don't like? The Series 3 Apple Watch.
Oh boy, this thing is dumb.
Released in 2017. Now, the 4, 5, and 6 were all discontinued, but the 3 remains. I argue that this is the most egregious on the
whole
website.
list.
Yeah.
Ooh, okay.
So I upgraded the 6 from the 3.
Yeah.
And the whole reason I did that was because there was literally not enough storage on the 3 to upgrade to the latest OS. Now, here's the problem with that, though. You can go out and buy a Series 3 right now and run into that same problem brand new.
Now, the SE, for context, is only $80 more, and it is a far more up-to-date watch. Now, mind you, I used to use a Series 3. I had one back in 2017, and it was a good watch then, but the processor is old, the screen is small, and the fact that you literally can have problems updating the OS with 0 things installed out of the box is absolutely ridiculous.
You had to, like, basically factory reset it.
Reset it when you want to update.
Yeah. If you're in the market for one of these watches, don't cheap out. For $80 more, get the SE. It's going to last you a lot longer.
Yep. Oh, man. I wish I had another Boss coffee right now. This video is long.
No more boss coffee.
The DualSense controller, my friends. So if you recall a few years ago, actually 2 years ago, I believe, or 1 year ago, or time is a flat circle, Apple started selling the DualSense controller on apple.com. Now, this actually works natively on iOS, on tvOS, pretty much most Apple devices, and especially if you're using like Apple Arcade or something, it makes sense, right? What's really weird about this, it's fine to sell the DualSense. Honestly, this is the best controller that you could really get for like an iPhone or anything like that. That makes sense. They don't even sell the Xbox controller, and that also works, which I find it's incredibly weird.
Now, the people in the comments are gonna be like, that's because Xbox sucks. Some of us like to have the joysticks offset and not down here. Ergonomically, this makes more sense to me. Hello and welcome to This Is. Did you know that the MacBook is just an aluminum piece of garbage?
I'm really excited about MacBooks and the trash with you. Today, we're taking a look at laptops that didn't kill the MacBook, but probably should have. Starting out with number 1.
The Dell XPS 15. The Dell XPS is a damn good laptop. So if you've seen these videos before, what we're gonna do is we are gonna be taking a look at some of these laptops. We are gonna argue that why they are better than the MacBook Pro, which won't be hard because all of them are in fact better than the MacBook Pro. The only catch is that we don't know what we're arguing ahead of time. I'll be honest, I was like kind of expecting this to be trash.
Look, well, it's an actual real laptop to start.
Yeah, it's like really good. It's got like 11th gen Intel processor. It's got super thin bezels. It's got a 3050 in it. There's nothing ironic. This is like a really good laptop.
I think it's bad, actually. My argument is that MacBooks are good and the XPS is bad. My argument is for the truly greatest laptop that we've ever seen, the Chewy AeroBook Pro. Now,
wait. Did I get the good one and Austin gets the bad one?
for $500, this device brings some of the most impressive design you've ever seen. Now, did they have to Photoshop some of the photos to make it look a little bit better? Yeah, but of course, whoever posts like a regular photo to Instagram, what's to stop Chewy from doing the same thing? This is so pro, it has pro in the name, a key component of any device, which is for professionals. On top of that, it has some similar MacBook build quality, I would argue probably better, and it has one of the most high-performing, impressive processors you could have, a Core M3, which is enough to run at least a tab of Facebook and maybe even a YouTube video if you try really, really hard.
This thing had to Photoshop itself to look thinner. If I don't have to do that, then the Chewy doesn't have to do that. But you know what doesn't also have to Photoshop itself? The Razer Book 13. Today is coming up, Matt. Now, this is a non-gaming version of the Razer. So this is more of a productivity laptop. You can play some minor games on here, but again, this thing is a productivity beast. It's got all the ports you can want. It's got Thunderbolt, it's got USB-A. It's still got all the fun little bits and boops like per key, RGB. This is a great little laptop. If you're a gamer, maybe not the one for you, but it definitely beats a MacBook.
The Razer Book, I will give you, has some redeeming qualities. However, I'm just gonna say, it holds no candles whatsoever compared to the Alienware M17X. Yes, friends, the OG, the big chungus. This is the first laptop that Alienware made after being acquired by Dell. It was all about trying to show everyone that you were a real gamer. Now, this is, mind you, 2009, before RGB was all the rage, right? Alienware.
No, you just had G. This behemoth had not one, but 2 GeForce 9800s in it.
SLI, baby.
Did this one need 2 power adapters as well that were roughly the same weight as any of the laptops I've looked at so far?
No, but Matt, what you're missing the point of is that this is cool and your shit sucks. Laptops these days are thin and all about their aesthetic, and who cares?
I don't want a forklift to have to carry around my laptop.
Well, you need
know
a
what
forklift for other
need?
things, Matt.
You know what is
like
better?
your ego.
My ego is way bigger than a forklift. You guys don't know you're in the presence of a CFO. A certified forklift operator. Show me the next one. Oh, okay.
Where's that forklift? Beep, beep, beep.
My hubris flew a little too close to the sun, and I got shot in the face for $4,999. It had an overclockable desktop GTX 980, an overclockable i7 processor, but the way cool thing was a detachable dock that liquid cooled all of this.
I actually remember this. It would actually work without the dock, but when
Yes.
you plug the dock in, it would literally just liquid cool everything and help you to run at sort of the proper specs. Because it's easy to forget, like these days, you hear a lot of like desktop class this and that, but this is actually true desktop class gear in a laptop, and it was about the size of a desktop. How could you say this is better than a MacBook, Matt?
It weighed a mere 8 pounds. 18 with the dock.
I might be arguing against MacBooks today. I'm gonna say the MacBook was better than this. This is a cool clickbait Linus video from 2016.
Didn't know you were an Apple shill.
Ha 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 ha.
Let me see you try and argue this piece of garbage.
The Framework laptop,
Damn it,
speaking of
everyone
Linus
freaking
shill,
loves this thing.
of course, if you've ever watched Linus Tech Tips video, is invested in by the one and only Linus Sebastian. Really, that's all I need to say. I can explain to you why it's a modular, affordable, fixable, and eco-friendly laptop, but who cares about any of that? The only thing that anyone cares about is that Linus likes it, and by buying one of these, you're depositing 17 cents into Linus' personal bank account. Honestly, when I buy a laptop, the only thing I look for is, does this personally benefit Linus Sebastian? Because if it doesn't, I'm out.
Do you remember that video we did a while back that is I built a laptop?
Yeah, it was really bad.
The Cano. We keep getting comments on that video, and this is from before the framework was out, by the way. And they're like, why didn't you mention the framework?
Are you trying to tell me that YouTube comments from years old videos are sometimes not up to date on what's actually going
Sometimes
on?
not up to date. But you know what I love, strictly because of YouTube commenters? I'm sorry, what? Kinsey. You. Released in 2002, this 5,012-pound brainchild of the Mad Lab. Who the fuck is Jeff Patillo?
I think he's getting so tilted right now. It's the Zentex FlipPad Voyager, Matt.
It
How
folds
could you not
into
know?
fourths. Who looked at a laptop and said, I need more folds in this fourth? Unsurprisingly, it never made it to the stores, but according to Patillo, this was because his manufacturing partner went bankrupt.
This is absolutely ridiculous, and Kinsey, thank you very much for giving this one to Matt, because I'm happy that while you have to argue that this pile of shit is better than the MacBook, I get to argue that, in fact, the superior device to all of these laptops and the MacBook is... Kinsey, why are you laughing? You haven't even flipped it. The Dragonfly Future Phone. Mad Lad Jeff Patillo back again, baby. He took your money once, I'll take it again. The Dragonfly Future Phone was a 2014 project that was a phone, a computer, and an Indiegogo scam.
I just want to know what's going on with Patillo. Why was he
Think about
so
it.
obsessed with that?
The left
that
side
one
can
feature?
be Windows, the right side can be Android, or you can run Windows on both displays. This raised $726,000 on Indiegogo, and then he got convicted for 12 counts of fraud.
This is as much of a scam as those garbage MacBook Pros. But you know what's not a scam?
What is
The
that?
next one. Yes, finally a good one. The IBM ThinkPad 701. This was a compact laptop that had the revolutionary butterfly keyboard. Not the BS one that Apple says with my butterfly keys, which would get a speck of dust in there and break forever. No, this bad boy would actually fold out and expand past the bezels to have a full-size keyboard experience with a small package. This won 27 design awards, including into the MoMA, Museum of Modern Art.
I will say this actually looks phenomenal. Like, I mean,
And-
this is what, almost 30 years old at this point. It still looks great today. I'm not gonna argue this one. I'm actually gonna agree with you. Rarely.
It's one of the best laptops ever made.
It's super cool. It's super cool. Mind you, laptops in 1995 did kind of suck, but this one sucked the least and certainly has one of the most unique designs. You know, Matt, what I could never say sucks? Something that would be truly incredible. The VIA Nano Book. Okay, so there were a series of laptops in the late 2000s called netbooks. They were wildly popular. I wanted one. I couldn't afford one, but they were super cool because they were tiny little laptops. They were very affordable, very, very portable, a little weak, and usually ran Windows XP, but they were super, super cool. Well, the VIA Nano Book took this to another level. 2007, it cost $600. It is a tiny ultra portable that weighed less than 2 pounds. It had a included voice over IP phone on the side, optional GPS. This was the do everything device. You got your Windows XP on the left, you got your IP phone on the right, you got the world's tiniest keyboard on the bottom. The Windows XP desktop has never looked better. Just look really, like, squint a little bit, kind of.
That
oh,
12 pixels of screen real estate there was really great. You know what had much better resolution? The Asus ZenBook Pro Duo 15. This had so much resolution it couldn't even fit it on a single screen. Packed with an RTX 3070 and an i9, this ScreenPad Plus is the answer to MacBook's failed touch bar. The only complaint I had about this one was the awkward trackpad over to the side.
And they've actually done more of these. So this is specifically the Pro Duo 15, and they've gotten better. Like, they've improved the displays over time. I'm sorry, Matt. I love this thing so much. I gotta argue on your behalf here.
So do I get 40 points?
No more points, Matt. There's no points for this. You know what I won't argue on your behalf, though? The Lenovo ThinkPad 2700 DS.
Before we get into this, Kinsey, did you just search for laptops that have multiple screens?
No,
Did you just find a BuzzFeed article of laptops that have multiple screens?
no, they're just cool.
There you go. They're just cool, like the ThinkPad. So this is from a 2009 vintage, a particularly fine vintage, I might add, since that's when I started making videos. This is a $3,000 laptop that would go up to about $5,000 when you spec'd it out. Expensive, right? However, when you spend that kind of money, you expect a high quality performance. And that's what you got here because the DS stood for dual screens.
Is that what DS stood for?
Almost.
I'm just putting 2 and 2 together to equal 6 on that one.
This did actually have a cool feature which had a Pantone color calibration sensor. Much like some of the later ThinkPads, you gotta make sure that your color accurate drawing on your ThinkPad DS is high quality.
You know what would have topped that? If it had the fold-out butterfly keyboard. But I can top this one because up next we have literally one of my favorite laptops of all time.
Wait, really?
This is an accurate, this is real.
Really?
I love the Surface Laptop Go. This guy is the most premium feeling device I've ever used. It's not the best specs in the world. It's not the cheapest laptop in the world. It's not even the best price for the specs that are have
You're
in
really
there.
selling me here.
It starts at $550. The trackpad was on par with Apple with the MacBooks, which I think is the best trackpad. The keyboard was wonderful.
Yeah.
It had a 3:2 aspect ratio,
Yep.
which was, I thought, perfect for productivity. No, it didn't have an integrated GPU, so gaming on this thing was a chore.
We did it. This is on the Surface laptop.
We did,
Didn't we?
and that's
Check
why
it out.
I started playing it. I really like this thing.
I actually agree with you. This is actually really cool. The main thing I think they messed up here, though, was just the pricing. To get a configuration that you would actually want to use regularly, it jumps up to like $900, and at that point, you're starting to get into like XPS 13 territory. It was a little bit of a hard sell.
This was the equivalent of the MacBook 12-inch.
Yeah, yeah,
Like,
the 12
but it
laptop,
had,
yeah.
had extra ports instead of just one, like the garbage MacBook 12-inch.
Well, you know what's better than both the Surface Laptop Go and the garbage
be
MacBook
the
12-inch? The Lenovo ThinkPad X1 Fold. Guess what you don't need in a laptop? A keyboard. What's up? Because this, my friends, is a Windows-powered folding laptop, tablet. It folds in half.
I think we just call those 2-in-1s.
Nope. It also has a beautiful OLED display, which is why it's foldable, right? So this is basically a giant Galaxy Z Flip that you can just fold open. The Fold, I think, even today, even though it's been a couple years, still looks super cool. And I know for a fact that other companies are working on similar form factors and similar devices that I may or may not be checking out shortly.
And it comes with a stylus that you immediately scratched your screen with
No.
because it has to be soft.
I didn't do that.
But you know what doesn't have a soft screen? The Toshiba AC100. So this was in 2010. It ran Android 2.1.
A particularly excellent version of Android.
Yeah, this is like a precursor to Chromebooks. And look at what it spawned.
This didn't spawn anything.
It spawned.
Everything spawned
We're gonna
itself.
have gaming Chromebooks because of this guy.
No. This happened, and this blighted the industry for a solid 5 minutes.
This is
until
a
everyone forgot about it.
trendsetter.
This didn't even run Flash.
And neither does MacBooks now. Trendsetter? I think so.
Fuck you, Matt.
After tallying up the scores, it's clear that I have won 57-2. I'll give you the 1. Let us know in the comments who is right, who is wrong. Hello and welcome to This Is. Are you one of the sad boys like me, patiently waiting for your Steam Deck email to show up? Well, we got you covered today because we have a whole bunch of
The
handhelds
Playdate is here.
that aren't
Hello.
the Steam
Hey,
Deck.
the Playdate is the Steam Deck killer. Do you think if I took a Playdate and smashed it into a Steam Deck, it would break the Steam Deck?
I think this is the Nokia of the modern era. These things
Do
are
not break my Playdate.
incredibly well built.
Do not break my Playdate.
Your Playdate.
One of the things that you're going to find with almost all of the items that we're talking about here is that they too are difficult to get your hands on thanks chip shortages. But if that Steam Deck has been elusive for you, we actually do have a pretty good selection of things that you may want to consider.
They all have pros, they all have cons. The con for most of these is the price. So we have a couple different things we can do. We can start with the Playdate. This here is the most unique gaming device that I think I've ever been a part of.
Very Game Boy reminiscent.
Let me read the specs on this guy. This is a 400 by 240 1-bit screen, so it is just black and white, but it is a very nice screen.
If you've ever spent time with original Game Boys, you'll know that there's a certain blurriness to the screen because it's very low pixel density. This is roughly double, I believe, the pixel density of a normal Game Boy, which means that the individual pixels are sharp, and importantly, the contrast is good. You don't have a stupid little wheel that you're adjusting. But the other thing is, this, like a Game Boy, and unlike everything else we look at, and everything else that's been made since the year 2000, does not have a backlit screen. A big downside to that is that, of course, if you're in the dark, you can't can't see. But on the other side, not only do you have great battery life when you're outside, but the screen looks better the more light that you can throw at it. So if you're hanging out the car window,
Yeah. If you were a 90s kid like myself, you know the pain of driving on a road trip at night, trying to play by the streetlights as you pass by, because if you dared turn on the backseat light, your father would go, I can't see anything. You're like, Dad, I'm about to beat the Elite Four.
Nope.
I can't see. That will be a problem with the Playdate. What else makes the Playdate unique is that you don't buy games for this.
Well, sort of. So if you buy a Playdate, it comes with 1 season of games, which means that games will be delivered. I actually don't know. Do you remember exactly how many games there are in season 1?
The way it's going to work is there are 24 games in that season. These are not massive games. These are maybe like you might get a couple hours out of them.
Yes, some I think it's like a 10-minute thing. Some or there's a little bit more to it. A lot of them do take advantage of the little crank. And the fact that this thing is not only delightfully designed, I mean, you can hear that plastic.
The best hardware there it is.
Smells great,
Awesome
too.
smell tips.
I'm not talking about feet, so you can't complain.
Why is feet in every episode? Speaking of feet, a common misconception with the Playdate is that the crank is to charge it. It is not. It is an input device. The music in it is really good.
It's so good. This thing is cool. Now, the problem with it is price and availability.
Yeah.
So it is $179, which when you consider it comes with a bunch of games, isn't maybe crazy, but it's certainly not like a throwaway $50 little item or something.
No.
Like this is something that is designed for distinguished gamers of taste. And also it's sold out like massively.
So
I think
according to their website, the production capacity for 2022 is full.
totally sold out. Mind you, this is just the way that life is at the moment. It is very difficult to secure production capability between chips and shipping and all that kind of stuff. So a lot of these items, if you put your order in now, you're gonna have to wait a while. But the Playdate is a very unique, interesting product. It's really kind of the anti-Steam Deck in pretty much every possible way. It's a very focused, simple, I would say almost gimmicky kind of thing, because it's very much kind of a one size fits all.
I mean, like,
you're not gonna play Windows games or anything on that. It's very much like, oh, well, give this thing a try. And
I
see
have
how
a
it is.
feeling this is going to end up on our shelf as like a display piece more than it would be an actual thing that we carry around in our bag. It's hard to justify that price for what you're getting with that.
Speaking of justifying the price, why is there an Apple logo on the back of the Aya Neo?
Because Jared is Jared.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so this is the Aya Neo. Now, if you're looking for something that is going to replace your Steam Deck, this is about as close as it gets right now. We actually did a little piece on this for Mystery Tech a little while ago. You can check that out for something that's a little bit more sort of in-depth. Essentially, this really is a Windows-powered Steam Deck. I'm just going to put this right up front. This thing is expensive. It is, $1,415.
Did you just say $1,415?
Roughly $1,000 more than a Steam Deck.
What?
They definitely have a fan base, and some of the things that are an advantage here, it runs full Windows right out the box. So unlike Steam Decks, which it runs Windows, but it's not a great experience, it really kind of treats itself like a Windows laptop, right? So you have a touchscreen, you have quite nice controls. It also has like a very similar kind of display. It's not quite as powerful as a Steam Deck, so it's actually got more CPU cores, but less GPU, which for gaming actually means it's not quite as good. And importantly, I believe the Aya Neo is a little bit easier to get your hands on, right?
Yeah, and like realistically, this is like almost, I want to say a laptop replacement because that's not quite the, but like
USB-C, you kind of could.
Like you can dock this and have this be your computer that you travel around with. It has a lot more versatility than the Steam Deck.
The problem, and this is really nothing to do with us as consumers, but more so on the back end, Valve aren't making money on Steam Decks, right? Like they're making those so you buy more games on Steam. Aya Neo is a company who actually needs to make money on the hardware that they sell, right? So obviously they've got to build in some profit there. And of course, you're also paying for, a full copy of Windows and all kinds of other stuff. So look, this is a niche item. I think it's a little bit nicer than the Steam Deck in certain ways. And the fact that if you want something that's going to really properly run Windows right out of the box, it's a good option. But I think the vast majority of people are better off served waiting for the Steam Deck or purchasing one of the other items we have here, such as the Analog Pocket. Now, similar to the Playdate, this is more of a retro-inspired console. It's really designed to play Game Boy games. Now, yes, Game Boys have existed for many a year. The thing is, what you get with this is something that is not emulating. It's actually, well,
It's
FPGA
hardware emulating.
Yes, exactly.
It's not software emulating.
It also has a terrific screen, an incredibly high resolution 1600 by 1440 display, 10x on both resolutions compared to an original Game Boy game. The display on the Analog Pocket is absolutely 100% my favorite part of this device.
Yeah, it's an amazing display.
Crazy.
However, I know you're going to defend this.
Yeah.
And I know you're going to say like, oh yeah, it upscales it and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it is still one of the best screens I've seen, pushing 12 pixels.
No, but here's the thing, right? So Game Boy Advance games actually don't look quite as nice because it's not the same aspect ratio.
Yeah.
Because this display is literally 10 times the vertical and horizontal resolution of an original Game Boy. It means that if you put one of those games in there, it is absolutely unreal at how well it not only draws all the pixels, but again, all the lines between pixels and stuff, the stuff that you cannot really get even on like a super high-end emulator. On top of that, the hardware feels really nice. So it is plastic, but it has very nice buttons, and importantly, it actually works with all the original accessories. I've got a full link cable port here. I can trade and play with other people either with an Analog Pocket or an original Game Boy. And on top of that, the screen and the speakers and the headphone jack, like the whole thing is basically just a super, super nice Game Boy. This thing is awesome. I love it.
But I mean, like, let's go back to price. It's
Yeah.
$220.
Which, if you're trying to build a custom Game Boy, you're gonna end up spending something that's actually not too far away from that by the time you have to like swap out the shell, buy the new screen, you have to solder things. Again, that's stuff that we've done before in the past. But what you're gonna get is even if you heavily modify an original Game Boy, it's gonna be very difficult for you to get something which is going to be this solid feeling. And you also have some emulator-like features. Like I can just put this to sleep and then just wake it up.
That's nice.
It's at
But,
save
like,
states, but it's cool.
You know, if it had like a built-in emulator where you didn't have to use cartridges, I think that would go a long way.
So here's the thing.
And there's, yeah, like,
that would be a potential thing that it might be able to do at some point, maybe.
but it doesn't right now when it
Well,
costs $220.
yeah.
And that's kind of my point with it. Like, if
You
I
get
go
a
get an
flash card.
emulator machine like this one, I could play every game. The Ambernick RG 552. These little handhelds have always been pretty good, the little emulator machines, but this is the first one that really kicks it up a notch. If you saw our everyday carry video, which you can catch up here, this here is been in my bag since I got this. This is one of my favorite devices of quite a while. These have all run like some version of custom firmware that was like kind of like RetroArch, but like the processors on them were pretty low. They were able to do like up to like PlayStation 1, but like barely. This is the first time it's been a major upgrade. What actually caught my eye about this particular one is this is the first time that out of the box runs Android. So spec-wise, this is a 6-core, 1.8 gigahertz RK3399 processor. This can run up to Wii games. It ran Mario Galaxy just fine.
Wow, that's impressive.
It runs PSP just fine. So I was playing Liberty City Stories on that.
That's actually pretty impressive.
Yeah.
How much is this?
So this is $250. Now,
That's a lot for $250.
Here's the hidden thing that I loved about this. I got this running with Xbox Game Pass. Out of the box, it runs Android 7. Someone had gotten Android 11 up and running on it, but unfortunately, it's not officially supported. I tried that. I was not able to get that to work.
No, this also can run Linux, right? If you
Yes.
want to flash a copy.
And it has two ports, two micro SD card slots on there. So you can
Oh.
actually dual boot this if you wanted to.
That's cool.
Where it gets kind of sketchy is internally it only has a 2.4 gigahertz Wi-Fi card.
Oh, you can't. Yeah, that's
So
not great.
while I was able to get xCloud running on this, it wasn't a great experience. Just out of the box, it doesn't actually support 5 gigahertz.
Drivers. Yeah, yeah.
So if you were to upgrade it to Android 11, which
Yeah.
I was unable to do, you could get this up and running. There's some other weird downsides to this. It does not have Bluetooth in any way, shape, or form.
That's a miss. A big miss.
A big miss.
Yeah.
Especially because it has a mini HDMI port out of here, so you can plug it into your TV. However, if it doesn't have Bluetooth, you're not really going to want to dock this.
It's a little smaller than a Switch Lite, but it's
Yeah.
kind of in that same sort of zone. That's not looking too promising. Did you forget to charge your Ambernick?
No, I let these charge overnight.
Did your Ambernick die right before we made a video on it?
Unfortunately, my Ambernick actually died.
Is it actually dead?
It's not turning on.
This thing is really cool if it wasn't just spontaneously dead right before we hit the record button. I will absolutely give you that there's a very interesting use case for this Ambernick. If you're looking for a small emulator this makes a lot of sense.
So it brings us around to the prices of all these things. And having seen the pros and cons of everything, I think you should just wait for a Steam Deck.
Wait,
Because-
did you clickbait me, Matt? You made me sit through this entire video, and now you're telling me that I was right to wait for my Steam Deck all along?
Yeah. So as much as I like all of these,
Yeah.
let's be real, no one's cross-shopping a Steam Deck with a Playdate. These two are within the ballpark of a Steam Deck. The versatility that you get with the Steam Deck, I think, outweighs the price difference between these.
This is one of those things where it's very much dependent on you, the gamer.
Yeah.
If you want like the super authentic Game Boy style experience, this is obviously your move. If you want the quirky, weird Playdate, that's your move. If you want just emulators with none of the extra stuff that actually is going to work well when it actually wants to turn on, the Amberding makes sense.
To turn back on, because I love this thing. I'm so sad.
If you'd like to send condolences to Matt for his loss, feel free to tweet him at Matt Ancini. There's a bug on the table. There's literally a bug crawling on the table right beside you.
I am not a merciful God.
Hello, welcome.
Whoa, no.
I have stolen the intro, and today we're going to be taking a look at some tech that we should bring back, starting with
The Nintendo Power Glove. So this came out in 1989, the year I was born. When's
Shout
the
out.
last time they made a game controller that was this cool? It starred in its own movie, The Wizard.
He's headed for the video championship.
This guy?
What is that?
Power glove.
But it's 2022. We have the technology. We can make this better. We can make it work so much better.
This is actually like kind of what VR controllers need to be today to give you that full hand presence. You need the individual fingers, and the Power Glove gave you the individual middle finger.
We have to have the finger blasting power.
Okay, let's
of
not
the
say
Nintendo
that's
Power
actually not
Glove.
the phrase that you should use on that one, in fact.
This is one of the best products ever, and I love that.
No, it's not, Matt. You can't say that with a straight face. Straighten your face. Straighten your face. Fully straighten it. Straighten it.
This is the best product that's ever.
You can't do it! You couldn't do it! The Power Glove is lame and stupid. Nintendo has been doing weird stuff forever, but this was about 2 decades ahead of its time. You know what was not 2 decades ahead of its time, Matt? You know what was
Literally
timeless?
everything on this list is
No,
two
no, no, no,
decades
no,
ahead
no,
of
no,
its
no,
time.
no, no, no.
That's the whole premise of the list.
This is 5 decades ahead of its time. Our next item is turbo controllers. Yeah, baby, we're going there. Have you ever found yourself furiously mashing the B button in hopes that you will be able to capture that Mewtwo in the Pokeball? Well, guess what? With Turbo Time, you'll know exactly what to do. Turbo was a button which is still available in some controllers, but it's kind of lost. It's been out of favor. That will allow you to rapidly spam a button hundreds of times per minute with little to no effort from you.
Some of you youngsters who watch our channel never grew up having to have this number 2 controller, the B controller,
Mad
the
Catz.
little brother Mad Catz controller. Some of you never had to experience that, and it shows.
I think it's time for Turbo to come back, because you know what? I don't want to be using my fingers all the time. I might be needing to do things with
Sounds
my Power
like you
Glove.
were saying you need the Power Glove, which is better
Exactly.
than the Turbo controller.
Well, I
point
would
to
just-
Matt. Ting! What actually needs to come back is our next product. Phones with keyboards and physical buttons. You know, no. Ready?
You
Straight
go for
face
it.
time.
You
Straight
go
face
for it.
time.
Straight face it up.
This is the hill I will die on.
Sorry, Matt. I'm getting a call on my non-touchscreen physical. Oh, yes. Oh, hello. Oh, yes. Is this 2022 calling? Matt's wrong? What else is new?
It's more accessible.
What people should subscribe to this is a ring-a-ling the ding-a-ling button? Psh, that seems like a great idea.
with a T9 controller. I could just be like under the table, just like.
What, you can't do that with a touchscreen?
No, I can't, because I can't feel where I'm going because there's not enough haptic feedback. Having the little nubbin to keep you centered on
The
the
nubbin?
T9, yeah, I don't know what it's called. It's a little nubbin. Mobile gaming on phones would be so much better.
Yeah,
And
you know
look at
what's
all
not better? When your screen's 2 inches tall because the keyboard takes up the rest of your phone.
They foop,
They foop?
they foop. The
What are
swipe
you
up
walking
keyboard
around with cargo shorts? Where are you going to keep that big phone, Matt?
in my cargo shorts.
You know what we really need to bring back? The actual piece of tech that will revolutionize the world? CRT displays. Yes,
That's not
friends.
fair.
First of all, CRTs aren't this nonsense digital technology that needs like frames of latency or something. No, it's instant because it uses electrons and positrons and
What are you gonna say? The Allspark?
cathode ray tubes. CRTs had a bunch of advantages. Not only were retro games really designed for CRTs, they weren't crystal clear, they weren't perfect. There was a little bit of nuance to those pixels. Color accuracy was great, especially in something like the Trinitrons. CRTs are great.
They weighed more than me.
No comment.
You had a 700-pound monitor for a 12-inch screen. But you know what actually was so cool that needs to come back is MySpace. All right? MySpace is the one true social media.
You think Elon's about to drop $50 billion on MySpace? You could buy MySpace for $11 and a half-eaten turkey sandwich, and it would still be too expensive.
Look. MySpace taught an entire generation how to HTML. Facebook and Twitter have just rotten our minds and
They've
just
taught
poisoned
people
the
other
well.
things.
Tom never had to sit in front of Congress and answer questions about why he's spreading misinformation about how 5G turns frogs, I don't know, into... I was not gonna say that, but all you true super fans out there, I am currently taking applications for my top 8. Tom had it right. He sold the company.
He got out before.
And he's
became
just
the
been
villain.
retired ever since.
You know what was more popular than MySpace, Matt?
Nothing.
No.
Not Friendster.
LimeWire.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah, friends, we're going there. Now, of course, I would never condone downloading illegal activities because that's illegal and I can't say that. But theoretically, cast yourself back to the mid-2000s. Windows XP was around. Imagine Spotify, except that it's the Russian roulette version. Sometimes you get that sweet download of the Black Album. Sometimes you get George W. Bush saying mission accomplished, or Bill Clinton telling you that he did not.
My fellow Americans, I did not have sexual intercourse with that girl. However, I did get great deals over at whatever. Like that was you'd wait like 3 days to download one song and it'd just be that.
You never know what you get. If this wasn't some scummy NFT today and the actual scummy download service that it used to be, we'd all be better off for it.
Because I was better. Moving on to what wasn't better. I messed that up, but it turned out to be true.
Please argue this one, Matt.
Mechanical mice.
I just like the idea of mechanical mice. Sounds so weird. Most people don't even know what this is.
Really, the only beneficial thing to having a like an actual trackball mouse, you could do
You
it.
just do it like on your
anywhere.
leg?
Anywhere.
What was great about mechanical mice was that they had heft. You could smack it down, send that AOL chat, and people will be like, wow, Matt means business today.
I didn't have like actual AOL because for a while my only internet was from Kmart. If you bought enough groceries from Kmart, they gave you internet discs and it was blue light. And for like years, that's how I got the internet.
I stand corrected. You know what I'm not standing corrected on though? RSS feeds. Yeah, friends, you think it's gone? Think again. RSS never left us. Now, really simple syndication, as it was known, was Twitter before Twitter was cool or ruined. Essentially, this allowed websites to give you a syndicated feed of all their different articles and news and blah, 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 instead of having to go to gizmodo.com and engadget.com and kotaku.com and all the other sites that are probably dead at this point. Instead, no, you could just open up your RSS feed. It would give you in a neat and orderly fashion all the articles about Half-Life 2 and Battlefield 7 that you could ever hope for. Well, you know what's great, Matt, is that while algorithms may dominate the day, RSS feeds actually don't need to come back because they're still here. You know that every podcast player pretty much on the internet, sort of like something like Spotify, still uses RSS?
Is this a disingenuous one?
It's not really. It was never gone.
Then why do we wish it would come back? Kinsey, can we please get the list to be accurate next time? Here's what does actually need to come back. Adobe Flash. Yeah. Know what? No. Adobe Flash needs to come back because so much of the internet has been lost. Adobe Flash stood so you could run now on YouTube. You wouldn't be
YouTube
here
did start
if it
with
wasn't
Flash,
for Adobe Flash and bring what showed like what could be fun on the internet.
Back in the early days of the iPhone and the iPad, it was a huge talking point that it did not support Flash, which obviously in hindsight,
I couldn't play Bloons on my iPhone 4, so that's why I went to Android for a while.
Steve Jobs personally killed Adobe Flash, but here's the problem with Flash.
Flying volleyball?
It was horribly unsafe and insecure. Like Flash was built on tape, duct tape, spit,
learn to fly,
glue, more tape, and then a layer of wallpaper on top, and it fell apart all the time.
It did.
What people made with Flash was amazing. Flash animations, Flash games, Flash video. It was a very cool thing. But again, the layers of nonsense eventually collapsed, and I'm glad it's gone. HTML5 just does everything better. Matt, avert your eyes. The Flash is gone because next item is even better. It is Roman concrete.
What?
Roman concrete was a lost to the ages art form. The Romans knew their Look how many Roman buildings are still around. There might be a recipe to make it, but no one knows how it was mixed. And it is legitimately impressive that 2,000-year-old plus concrete still exists, especially stuff in the sea, right? The fact that you built something in the sea in 2,000 years of whoosh, 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 hasn't gotten rid of it, Matt, that's pretty impressive. Roman concrete was the OG concrete.
I'm going to tell you why that's the dumbest thing that you've ever said. Pull out your phone real quick.
My concrete phone?
Pull out your other phone real quick. What do you got on your wrist there? That has cellular, doesn't it? Imagine we're in all these buildings of Roman concrete. We wouldn't get a damn Wi-Fi signal out there. You wouldn't be able to go and watch all your episodes of This Is and make sure you like and subscribe for these. You're just dumb on that one. You know what wasn't dumb? IR blasters on phones.
That is quite the transition.
Yeah, because these things were great. Oh no, where's the remote control? I don't know. Doesn't matter. Click.
Matt, I'm actually going to completely agree with you on this one.
Yeah.
I was a absolute menace. I had my HTC One, and it also had the IR blaster. I would be in like
You're
bars or
chaotic
hotels
evil.
or whatever, and just changing the channel to like Blue's Clues or something, and I thought it was hilarious.
You're a gremlin.
Look, IR blasters were great. And the fact that they're gone is really sad. These were very popular in like the early 2010s, right?
Yeah.
So Samsung had it for a few years.
LG had it for a while.
LG, a lot
Yeah.
of companies put this on because it was tiny.
It was just useful to have. Why get rid of it? Bring it back.
You know what they will bring back, Matt?
No, they won't.
They will 100% bring back the Nintendo GameCube handle. Not the GameCube. No, that's gone.
Just the
handle
handle.
itself. Will this look a little weird on the Switch when you glue a handle? I think so. But you know what? Nintendo nailed the GameCube. This was a portable, powerful console. Let's not forget the GameCube was, I think, more powerful than the PS2. It had the portability. It had the GameCube, the Game Boy player on the bottom if you were so rad as to want to play Game Boy games on your TV. Imagine the purple fury.
It did come in purple, which
it
was
could
great.
unleash on the world if every PS5 had a handle. If I had a GameCube handle in my hand right now, I could beat someone to death with it. And that's not something you can say about, I don't know, like an Xbox Series S or something.
I think I could yeet a Series X at you and do more damage than you.
But a handle, I have the precision. Right?
I
it's
think,
not a blunt instrument. It's a weapon of tactical capability.
You know, it
Fine.
wasn't a weapon.
Fine.
and-
Yeah. What's better than
But it was
GameCube?
actually a good product.
for it.
Attachment loops on phone.
A lanyard strap, Matt?
If you're like me and have been to space, I really wish that I did have a lanyard strap on my phone when it was floating around and hitting me in the face while we were floating in zero gravity. There's so many little charms you could get for your phone. An entire industry suffered on this. You know who it is?
Who?
All the mall kiosks.
Mall kiosks.
All of those people went starving.
They
lost an
lived on
entire
borrowed
industry
time
overnight.
as soon as the 3310 lost its faceplates.
Hello and welcome to This Is. GameStop has just fired their CFO, and hopefully for a good reason, because they still sell some really dumb products.
GameStop is a company that over the last 10 years has had so many different focuses. They, take cell phone trade-ins. They sell you gaming PC stuff.
And now they're just trying to cater to you diamond hands. Are you still holding? Let us know in the comments. Depending on how we upload videos, this might be a momentous occasion because this is the last video that we're recording in this setup. It's all gone.
I'm going to say Mega Raptor can just hang out here.
But the first product they still sell, which is really dumb, is the PS4 chat
What?
pad.
Wait, who actually needs this? Like, I guess to type passwords in, but like, who actually does text chat on PS4 or PS5 or anything?
There's some used items that I will get from GameStop, but this one here I will not get used.
This is only
because this
pre-owned.
is used.
Oh,
This
no
is
wonder
gonna
it
be
says
covered
style
in
may
someone's
vary.
greasy ass Cheeto dust hands because they didn't watch the This Is episode about the best Instagram ads where they got the finger chopsticks.
Also, this is $20.
That is
Dollars?
$20.
Is that US dollars?
Yes.
All right,
Next up we have
Oh, hell no. I've tried these. The Bose Frames Tempo Audio Sunglasses. Okay, so have you ever worn your sunglasses and thought that you're super cool, but you're too cool to put in your headphones because lame-os put headphones in their ears? So instead, your sunglasses have speakers that beamform or bone conductor, whatever nonsense
those
they
are
try
two
to
very
use.
different technologies for the record.
But it's nothing is in your ear, but it's sending audio waves through the air into your ear holes.
Is this considered oral bliss? If it
No, it's oral disappointment.
oral bliss is mouth.
A-U-R-A-L.
Oral, A-U-R-A-L,
Right.
is ears.
No, I'm saying
Mouth.
oral.
But you don't say it right. You're saying it right now because I'm yelling at you.
Oral.
This has been a running joke for 3 years.
But I say it wrong sometimes.
No, you
and
say
it
it wrong
bothers me.
all the time.
No. I hope
And then
it
I
right.
yell, Arl! And then everyone in the comments go, Arl! Oh, yeah, he's... Look, these things suck. And they look stupid.
You've tried them, right?
I have tried them. If you wear these out, guess what? You're a nerd.
Oh, so these are $200.
GameStop sells these. It's super weird because it's not a gaming product.
Which brings us to our next product, which is one of the most tech of all time.
The Samsung Galaxy Note 9.
Here's where I'm like, this is why it's on the list. They're all carrier locked.
Which is ridiculous. I always thought that this phone looked a little bit awkward, especially with the fingerprint sensor, such a weird spot below the camera.
Unless you had like giant
Unless you're Marquez. However, this is back from a time where GameStop, and I know that they still do this somewhat, but they were doing a major push to be your cell phone store. You could trade in your Samsung Galaxy Note 9 and get yourself $11 of store credit to buy DLC or some V-Bucks or something.
Oh man.
So a fun fact about this is that you can also get the Galaxy Note 10 for like the exact same
Okay,
price.
wait. Let's play Price is Right rules. Who can get closest to the price of what?
$259.
No. $330.
It is $323, and then you can get the Note 10 for $329.
This is stupid. Don't buy a Note 9 then.
Well,
But
there's a
that's
lot of things you
carrier
shouldn't
locked.
buy. Oh my god, yeah, that's so stupid.
That to me that's the most
wow.
egregious part of this. If you're buying a phone that's from 2018, unlock it. What's the point? I don't know. Moving on. We have we have to blur that.
Wait,
The
wait.
Bella Beat Leaf Chakra Fitness Tracker. This vagina pendant is optimized for women's health. It does not have a screen or buttons, but it is enhanced with a choice of rose quartz love or onyx
Good
power
lord.
healing crystals.
So it is a fitness tracker. So am I correct in assuming that this will Bluetooth to your phone and track, like, I don't know, your steps or something? What does it actually do? Other question, what kind of fitness tracker can be accurate if it's on your necklace bouncing around every time you take a step?
It takes women's well-being to the next level by combining technology with the natural powers of crystals. Monitor your activity, sleep, stress sensitivity, hydration, and mindfulness minutes.
I literally don't understand any part of this. First of all, the fact that this is a GameStop product. Second of all, what? Third of all, what? Fourth of all, what?
This is snake oil because
$89 worth of snake oil.
moving on to a much less sus product.
Wait! This is not a GameStop item. You cannot buy this from GameStop. You are lying to me right now.
This micro USB powered.
You can yell at your voice command lock from GameStop.
The pre-programmed code for this is 8008.
Can you stop, Matt? I don't personally love the idea of smart connected locks. Generally speaking, I don't trust my home security to random turbo lock companies from GameStop. But also, who buys this from GameStop? What?
The Skelter smart communication RGB keyboard.
Oh, I have this. This showed up in our PO box. I don't know, a couple years ago, because it's still got micro USB. It's the stupid Rocat thing where it's got the little thing where you can drop your smartphone in.
Kinsey, how much does it cost?
$160.
You could get a 1996 Ford Focus for that money.
I'd rather.
I'd rather the Ford Focus. All right, what's the next product here? We got Farming Simulator 22 Collector's Edition.
So this is the Collector's Edition for PC, which comes with a disc. I cannot think of any modern game that still comes on a disc for PC. Like, almost nothing that's like actually like a proper new game. Bro. GameStop!
GameStop! I want to apologize to all the diamond hands out there. You apes are holding strong.
Are they still?
Yeah.
Aren't we over this yet?
No.
Oh, okay.
I can't say this with a straight face. Like,
No. Tell the people what they need to hear, that they're doing the GameStop's good work and it's pumping the value of a marginally successful game company that has ripped people off for decades is a good idea. I very sincerely want to thank everyone who has purchased GameStop stock to keep this company in business, because boy oh boy have I made a lot of clickbait videos buying dumb things from GameStop and making fun of them. It's been a true delight. So please keep GameStop in business so I can keep making dumb GameStop videos like this one.
the Mad Cats. Oh, okay.
I had one of these too, Matt.
So this Transformer gone wrong is currently unavailable. That means like there's one GameStop across all of the world that has one of these. It fell off a shelf behind some boxes somewhere.
So like with an
and
old like
lost-
1997
Yeah,
Pokemon
it got
card pack.
lost in the inventory.
Yeah.
The Mad Catz rat somehow makes this dumb hand keyboard mouse thing look practical.
The Mad Catz, so the thing is, if you never played with Mad Catz, right? Obviously, they made like all those like weird third-party little brother controllers, but also Mad Catz was a early, fairly big gaming company when it came to like the PC space too. Like I remember when we were doing videos way back in the day, Mad Catz rat mouses were actually like people used them. I had one. A lot of people had them. They weren't amazing, but they were like super customizable.
And this is Mad Catz in general.
Yeah.
They had features, but aesthetically, they were so hideous and ugly. Like no one even wanted to have these on their desk.
How much is the most expensive mouse?
So $200, and the wireless one is $250.
I didn't know that mouse got that expensive.
Yeah.
The phone
The
soap?
phone soap. No, not the phone soap. The home soap. 27 times the sanitizing space of the original phone soap.
You can put a laptop in it.
Yeah.
What?
I would say it was listed at $4.99 and now it is $3.99.
No. $2.99, $1.99.
When I first started making this video, it was listed at $170, and now it is $85. And I feel like it sensed my disdain and was like, "Oh, I'll cut down some of $100 just for you."
Enamel pins of Funko Pops.
Wait.
What? Here's the thing though, like I feel like this is just something that you can get on Etsy for even cheaper.
Well, the pops kind of make sense because, like, yeah, it's a 3D kind of thing. But why would you do an enamel pen of a weird-looking thing, which is it's like you're like one level too deep?
I wonder if you cut these open if they have brains.
Am I reading this right? These are like $10 to $15 for one pen.
Yes.
But well, I mean, the good deal here is we got $9 for a 5-pack of office characters.
I don't know. I think it's an assortment. I don't know if you get all 5
You're
of
an
them.
assortment. Moving on. The Jensen cassette player. This guy here that they still sell today has a built-in speaker. It includes a headphone jack and 2 AA batteries.
But not included.
Not included.
When did you switch from cassettes to CDs? That's my real question.
I think it was like 2000 exactly.
Yeah. My first CD was a Burger King free CD, which I gleefully put into. It came in like a Happy Meal, and I gleefully put
they
it
didn't
in
have
my
Happy
PS1.
Meals at Burger King.
Sorry, Burger Meals or whatever. I put it in my PS1, the only device in the entire house that could play CDs, and I listened to it on my CRT, and it was like I actually think it was like Backstreet Boys or something. It was like one of the like 3 single CDs. The cassette player looks great. How much is this cassette player? And if it's more than $30,
$19.99.
$16.
Some of you have never had to rewind a cassette player with the eraser end of a pencil, and it shows. Like this idiot right here.
I'm making some really good noises, and you know that they're pretty good. I cannot believe that I've gotten so old so fast. Time has moved by at such an absolutely ridiculously fast pace. I feel like the things that we're saying right now sound like we are from 1910.
Yeah,
but this was not that long ago.
The only reason we get any Zoomer audience is because of Roboraptor.
The Disney Orange Android tablet.
Do you want to have an iPad baby but don't have iPad money? Now you can get this tablet that runs Android 8.1 Go or 10 Go, depending on what part of the page you read.
It looks like one of those generic, basic, super cheap Android tablets with that sort of, that rubber foam case that your annoying 3-year-old cousin is going to just toss on the ground.
However, reviewers have said it broke. So, hello and welcome to This Is. Sony likes to think that they have the superior controller when it comes to the DualSense.
What are you, Spider-Man over here sensing things? Well, today we're going to tell you what's better than the DualSense, starting out with this Donkey Konga bongos. You actually had them prepped. These are better than the DualSense, I have no doubt, because you know what the DualSense can't do? Bongo. With your friends. Actually, we had this when we built the Ultimate GameCube. Ken and I had a delightful time.
The only thing it didn't come with was bananas. The Wu-Tang PS1 controller. This was a tie-in with the Wu-Tang Shaolin style album that was released in 1999.
Wait, I've never seen this in my life.
You've never seen this controller.
I've never seen the Wu-Tang.
You're just a hater because you haven't mastered the Shaolin style. The Wu-Tang controller was the best one. It was released after the DualShock.
Okay.
But it was like for the PS1, so it didn't have like all the DualShocky features.
Yeah.
And it also gave you carpal tunnel, which was just an added bonus. Like, does your DualSense give you carpal tunnel? When's the last time your DualSense has given you anything? You're only
Matt,
don't like these
because you haven't mastered the Shaolin style.
I'll tell you, as someone who owns a real baby, that shit's a lot of work. So instead, you could get the Wii Baby. Now, maybe this wasn't exactly a controller, but this is an accessory that was bundled with babysitting mama for the Wii, and this was basically something that you stuffed a Wii remote into.
Where?
No. Just let it sit with you for a second.
Where did you stuff the remote?
Into the baby.
As someone who had 3 of my kids taken away,
Did you shake them too hard? How hard did you shake them?
I didn't get to.
Well, you want the Wii Baby? It'll make you feel better. It's better than the DualSense, I'll tell you that.
That is a weirdly like thick tuft of hair for just being on one.
For a big
spot
bald
of the head.
baby. I'd get that checked out, actually.
You know what I wouldn't get checked out because it is fine because it's great. This is a Resident Evil chainsaw. Talk about segues. So this was released with Resident Evil 4 back in 2005. Based on extensive play tests, the execs high up that you're way above our pay grade said this vastly improved the experience for playing Resident Evil 4. And here's the thing. It did not. Now they are an awesome set piece, and I wish we had some to put around. But like, as far as like actually playing, these weren't it, Chief.
You know what's better than both the Resident Evil chainsaw and the DualSense?
What?
The Dreamcast fishing rod.
Yes,
friends. Who needs your fancy rumble, your speaker, your touchpad, your beautifully crafted little PlayStation icons everywhere? That's all nonsense for losers. You know what's better than playing video games? Fishing. Because fishing is how you go outside, you're one with nature, you sit in a boat, you float, you maybe have a couple brewskis, and then you go home with your empty bait thing that you dumped out and you told your family that you caught a bunch of fish and you let them go because you're in fact a failure and everyone's really disappointed with you. If you're gonna go out with the boys, you're gonna go bring your fishing rod out, you gotta come home with something. But if you stay home and play your Dreamcast, no one's gonna question you. They're just gonna think you're a weird loser, and ultimately you'll have the exact same amount of fish at the end of the day. This actually had real motion control, so it actually was compatible with both the Virtua Tennis and Soul Calibur.
Would you in fact say that it would be the cast of your dreams?
Kinsey, I'm gonna need you to sit outside for the remainder of this video.
The whipped cream. Matt, no. Okay, Matt. What you got then? What's better than the Dreamcast fishing rod and disappointing your family?
Easy. Let me just pull this out. Katana the Soul Controller. This is from Hori, the legendary Mad Lads. It was the first product of theirs to come to the US, and it was actually a dual shock.
This is the first Hori controller in the US?
Yeah, and so it was basically just a dual shock inside a katana. And it had motion controls, and you could just go, rah! We went to go buy it with your credit card, but it was declined. And good thing, because they are $1,300 new in box right now. Moving on.
The GameCube keyboard. This was, in fact, the greatest gaming hardware ever crafted by human hands. And when I say human hands, you need 3 or 4 of them to use this big motherfucker. Have you ever imagined a GameCube controller with a keyboard on the inside of it? Well, that's exactly what you get. Imagine showing up to a Smash Brothers tournament with this. You have your full controller, and then you set down your lap and go type, enter, pick up the controller, and you get back to owning the noobs.
You don't need a full-size keyboard to type F in the chat when you get your ass kicked online. The only way it's gonna make this better is when Razer inevitably makes their own version of it, and
I'll buy it.
It's got their
Razer,
optomechanical switches.
if you
in
make a GameCube controller, no, you can just
Razer.
Now I know what
this is branded. Tweet at Razer
good
that you
Lord.
want to see a this is branded keyboard. Let them know that Austin sent you.
I'm gonna get a call from our friends at Razer. It's like, hey, please stop telling everyone to give us bad ideas. We're not gonna do this. This is a bad idea. You know what isn't a bad idea, Matt?
The Dreamcast maracas! For Samba de Amigo. It was a rhythm game, but with maracas. And they rattled like a good maraca should.
I wasn't paying attention to anything you said. I was just maracaing. I'd much rather go Dreamcast fishing than Dreamcast maracking! The Tony Hawk Ride skateboard controller. Matt, you can't even argue with me on this one. You know.
No, this was actually great. I actually really, this was really fun.
Put yourself back, my friends, in 2009. A year full of prosperity, of joyous times, and of nothing but world happiness and delight. All that was not true, but you could ride on a Wii skateboard. What more could you ask for?
The one thing you could ask for with this is that it would actually work.
It was more of a cool concept, and it was only $120. I would say a bargain compared to stepping on your Wii remote, because that definitely wouldn't work. It's about the same level of like authenticity to skating.
Moving on, the Mega Jockey 9000, which just sounds like something we made up.
This is amazing.
This was for Steel Battalion and needed 44 inputs, 2 joysticks, throttle handles, radio channel dials, 5 switches, an eject button, 3-foot pedals. This thing looks dope.
It was $200 though, and it was only usable on one game.
This would be dope for something like Star Wars Squadrons, which I like playing.
Yeah.
But again, it's,
It looks dope. I will say it looks really, really dope, but there's no way you can argue that this is better than the DualSense.
I can. How many foot pedals does your DualSense have?
None, because the DualSense is a
Exactly.
bad controller. Because what a good controller is Dragon Quest Slime for Switch.
Hori, are you okay?
Again, this is only for people who don't have hands, because if you have hands, you will have to grasp it and then do it like this, which is not exactly the way you want a game. But it looks dope, right? It is absolutely massive. It does come with a treasure chest and a display stand, because that's the only place that you will ever want to look at it, because it's dumb.
Can I let you in on an embarrassing story about the slime controller?
Yes, please.
My friend had it.
Uh-huh.
And I was using it because that was the only second Switch.
You actually
controller
use
I
this seriously?
had. We were playing Mario Kart.
Okay.
And so you flip it upside down. It's got the little tip of the bump. I just like docked that in my belly
Oh,
button.
good lord. Good
It was just-
lord. We gotta censor that now, I
Just
think.
play it. It was sitting in my treasure chest. And
Aaron, can you
it,
please
like,
censor all of that? Literally
I was locked and loaded.
I take it back. This is not better than the DualSense. Matt's story has ruined it. The slime controller.
But you can put
F
a hat on him. He had a little hat.
Not after what you did to him. That face, that's a smile of pain and
He wore
agony.
me like a hat.
No.
We have the Xbox Connect.
You've
which-
already given up. Have you already given up?
I already won the points.
What? There are no points in this.
Aaron, if you could roll back the point system right here and just show. If you're feeling like a star, you can't stop my shine. I'm loving Cloud City. I'm Solo. I'm Han Solo. I'm Han Solo.
Are you trying to tell me though, seriously, all jokes aside, leave your jokes at the door. The Kinect was good. When they first announced the Kinect, they way overhyped it. Remember they showed the kids scanning the skateboard and it was like as if he could just bring in any household item and suddenly it was part of the game? Yeah, that shit never flied. I will agree, the Kinect was interesting. There's no way it was better than DualSense, because you know what was better than the DualSense? The Densha Digo controllers, which is go by train. Have you ever wondered what it's like to drive a real life Japanese commuter train?
No.
Well, I'm gonna fill you in. You use this and you go and stop.
You could even apparently use the N64 mic, so you could announce stations to your passengers.
So this one is specifically for the Switch, but millions of people have purchased these.
Are you familiar with Penn and Teller's Smoke and Mirrors?
No.
So this was a series of video games, and it was a series of joke games. The one that has been the most famous is called Desert Bus.
Oh, Desert Bus. I am familiar with Desert
where
Bus.
you
yeah.
drive from Vegas to Arizona in real time
for like 9 hours.
and just you're in the desert, and when you get to your destination, that's 1 point. And then you turn around and come back, 2 points. So they have all these now charity events of like, how far can I get in Desert Bus, and like people pledge money and stuff like that. And it's a really cool charity. There's literally way more buttons on there than what you're.
Those are all the
referring
buttons to talk to your fellow train.
You need the N64 mic for that one. But you know what you don't need the N64 mic for? The Skyward Sword for Switch.
Wait, this is a real thing?
Yeah. It's a Joy-Con controller holder.
So when you swipe too hard, your
Games
Switch
go flying everywhere. Yeah, yeah. Like how many TVs did I ruin because you don't have the lanyard and you just feel like kind of like, hey,
I always practice safe Wiiing. Strap it up, otherwise you're gonna lose control of your Wii and you're gonna be in big trouble. Well, it's not better than the DualSense though.
It is.
No, it's
'Cause
not.
how many games can your DualSense store in it?
Okay, fine, you got me there.
Yeah.
The Intel Wireless Series gamepad. Now, you might see this and you might think, that looks a little sus. And then you might look at it closer and go, that looks real sus. What? This was, though, a completely wireless controller for PC. Remember, this was not a thing back in 2000. Trust the good folks at Intel to always be pushing the levels of susness in the PC space.
Let me ask you one important question.
No, I don't think you need to. It's fine. We can move on. We're done. We can move
Why
on.
did it have to look like this?
Because, Matt,
this looks like
the
something.
wires had to be on the inside,
This
not
looks
the
like something
outside.
that would be in.
No.
Subscribe to our OnlyFans, get the uncensored version, and they see what this is actually used for. Moving on, though.
Oh, no. Cut that.
But we have lipstick! A blast from the past of one of our old This Is episodes. The Listic for the Atari 2400 was released in 1981.
You also
it was a
could
great
squeeze it.
gift for your
You can
kids.
squeeze your Listic.
Yeah. Come on, kids, give Listic a squeeze. Yeah, I'll tell you what, though. I've been training to use Listic since about 1992. Sometimes you gotta give a little...
While you're playing with Listic, you know what I was playing with? The Nintendo Power Glove.
From the Wizard!
What do you need in a controller? I don't know, the ability to control things? Wrong! Controlling is overrated. Instead, you want the coolest looking a pad that's attached to your glove of all time.
I'm noticing all of these things that are better than the DualSense are all pure motion control, where you didn't need a controller.
Are you trying to say that it wasn't the DualSense that we needed, but it was the DualSense that we found along the way? Good Lord, Matt, stop. You need to put the stick away, and I need to power glove my way to a bright new future where we can forget this video ever happened.
The iPhone 14 is here, and it is garbage.
Garbage, I say.
There are so many phones that are better than this one, and they've
So
been
much better.
out for a fortnight. Let's see the first one. The Nokia 808 PureView. At one point, I just want to be like, Nokia, are you okay? Is everything okay at home? Because it felt like they were overcompensating for a lot with these big camera bulges.
No. Here's the thing. Nokia were ahead of their time. While the iPhone was giving us, what, 8 megapixels? 12 megapixels? This is a phone for ants?
Is that how ants measure in megapixels the size? How big is a big ant? How many megapixels is a big ant?
30.
30?
So
Well, then a
big
41
ant.
megapixel camera would make for a giant ant.
For context, this phone came out in 2012. It had the highest megapixel. That's a megapixel. 7 years of the highest megapixel count that we had ever seen.
The Escobar Fold 2. Pablo Escobar had a brother, Roberto de Jesus. He decided, I'm gonna start making solid bricks of gold into telephones. Except that solid brick of gold was actually just a slightly worse D-brand sticker.
The idea here was that Pablo Escobar's brother sold a scam, a legitimate $400 phone, and that you would send your money, I believe wire transfer only.
Wire transfer, so like slightly more secure
crypto,
than just
crypto. You could also send crypto.
It was slightly more secure than literally just giving a bike messenger a bag of money and telling him to go across the border.
And it had a nifty wallpaper of a smiling Pablo Escobar.
With his mugshot.
Look,
I feel like we're gonna get shot for this after, like, we're gonna get taken out back and Escobar'd.
The LG G5. Matt, I'm gonna ask you a question.
Yeah.
You need you to be honest with me.
Yeah.
I need you to look me square in the eyes. Have you ever used an LG phone?
I'm just realizing you have blue eyes. What was the question? I was lost in those baby blues.
This was at a time in 2016 where removable batteries on phones were generally going away. You know, things like water resistance and whatnot was becoming a little bit more prevalent, glass backs, all that kind of stuff. But LG, being the rebels that they were, rest in peace, they wanted to do something different. So they basically made the bottom of the phone detachable. So you could load up a battery. You also could get different friends, which would give you things like the DAC module, camera grip, that kind of stuff.
When I bought mine, it
Yeah.
came with 2 additional batteries. I was out here just... what is this one?
Matt, I'll let you take this one. It's fine.
The Virtue Constellation.
Constellation?
Ulm. In order to buy the Virtue Constellation, you have to buy a $5,100 NFT.
Wait, no, hold on. Kinsey, please explain this a little more.
Yeah, so by September 23rd, you have to decide if you want to, in fact, funge it and get a phone for it, or keep the NFT and be part of their exclusive stupid club.
So it's one or the other. You're either funging or you're non-funging. Imagine though, Matt, people say, NFTs have no purpose. What if you could turn your NFTs into phones or computers or cars or something? That sounds pretty fungible to me.
You wouldn't funge a car, would you? The Energizer Power Max.
Oh, Matt, I know this one.
E18K.
I know this one.
Please.
The idea here is that this is a 1.1 pound phone, 18 millimeters thick, and it had an 18,000 milliamp hour battery with weeks of standby time. Do you know how much they raised on Kickstarter? $15,000 out of the 1.2 they were looking for. the Nokia 5800 Express Music. But this is a 2008 smartphone, and it had one of the most incredible features that any phone has ever had. Something that modern smartphones pale in comparison to: a resistive touchscreen. You know the Nintendo DS? Imagine put that shit on your phone. It came with a stylus. I'm sorry, Galaxy Note series. You got canceled for a reason because the Nokia 5800 did it better and did it first.
Do you think that the design engineers at Nokia were just like doing mounds of cocaine as they're designing their phones? Like, just like, what? How can we make this weird?
Wait, Kinsey, what's a plectrum?
Do we need to censor it?
No,
if
no.
we put it up here, do we have to censor whatever this is?
Okay, so what a plectrum is like what you use to like strum like stringed instruments. These guys said, you know what? We love Express Music so much that we'll make one that works with your phone touchscreen.
Like a guitar pick?
Yeah.
Look, all I know is if you want to see Matt furiously strum his plectrum, make sure to subscribe to this and ringling the dingling button. And otherwise, you'll be forced to miss the plectrumming that's happening behind me. What's the N-Gage, Matt? Tell me about the N-Gage.
The N-Gage was, what if
Uh-huh.
the Game Boy Advance
Yep.
had PlayStation, I don't even want to say 1 graphics, I would say PlayStation and a half graphics.
Fact.
At a weird aspect ratio, and you could also get rejected from your crush on.
All I know is this. The iPhone 14 has what? 3 buttons? It has what? A high definition OLED 120 hertz display. Hilarious. Imagine needing that when in fact you could have the taco time of your dreams.
The HTC Sensation!
Sensation! You know that this had HD video?
And it came with an 8 gigabyte micro SD card, which was at the time worth about $12,000. This was a steal. And also it had TouchSense, which was just still the best looking.
The flip clock?
The flip clock, the rounded like kind of like home launcher bar. I would trade you and Kinsey
Okay.
both in,
Yep.
hands down,
Yep.
for a modern version of an HTC with HTC Sense.
Oh.
The next bit, Robin. Listen, baby birds, we know what you're looking for. I love this phone. I loved it. However, thanks to our good bald friend, Jerry Rig Everything, he exposed the absolute scam of the next bit, Robin, with the most controversial video on the internet of 2016.
The idea here was that it was a cloud-powered smartphone. No, not for cloud gaming. Lame. This was all about being able to offload your very, very heavy data files. Instead, you could upload it to the cloud, and then you could just immediately get the performance of your fresh and clean phone back. Also, how about we make a phone out of plastic? That's a great idea. I don't see
And
how
not
this could
just
possibly go wrong.
plastic. You know how plastic's made out of dinosaurs? This plastic wasn't made out of a T-Rex or a Stegosaurus. This was made out of those little running guys that are...
Raptors?
No, the little ones.
Little raptors? Little dinosaurs are raptors.
No. Medium-sized dinosaurs are raptors.
Yeah, there's also little ones too.
But I'm talking about the little ones. Okay, whatever.
Anyway, what was most exciting about this was that while it raised $1.3 million on Kickstarter, Zach snapped it in half, and then almost immediately Razer purchased it about a year later.
And they made it significantly better.
Yes, this
Razer
was
made a damn fine phone out of this.
It was the basis of the first Razer phone.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that very important cloud storage that Nextbit put together, less than 2 years after this went on sale, was completely discontinued. If only you had an iPhone 14, you wouldn't. A better phone than the iPhone 14 wouldn't be a problem now, would it?
The Casio
Oh, good lord.
Gazone Commander 4G.
This is a calzone? What was this?
What is this thing?
This came out in 2013 for $100 on contract, thanks to our friends over at Verizon. This was a military 810G certified device. You could use it as a tactical weapon.
Good day, my lady. Would you like to accompany me to Gazone? Can I ask you,
Please do.
is the skin tire treads or is there
Yes.
is there rubber on the case? If I'm gripping this phone, am I gripping a Goodyear?
Can you take your iPhone 14 and throw it in water and tactically knock someone out? I don't think so. The Nokia N8. Matt, this was actually a really good phone. I can, with a completely straight face, example, can tell you that this is way better than the iPhone 14. HDMI output, USB on the go, FM transmitter, and a 3.5G radio. Better than 5G because it's 3.5G. That's 3 whole better than the 5G.
What?
Even more importantly, this actually was used to shoot a feature film. Matt, something you know about because you've watched a film before, haven't you?
I have
No. We're not doing this one. We're not doing this one. I
First
refuse.
of all, this looks like we're about to summon Dumamu. Dragon is made out of 18 karat gold and a fragment of a meteorite.
A fragment of a meteorite that fell from Mars. How can you tell a meteorite fell from Mars? Meteorites don't come from planets. They land on planets.
No, they originate from planets or from, I guess, celestial bodies, if you want. Because, like, you know,
So did it
rest
have
in
like
peace, Pluto. It cost a whopping $26,640. For the first time, we can actually make this joke. That literally costs more than a 2019 Ford Focus.
this is clearly more expensive than an iPhone.
Yeah.
And does it have a piece of Mars in it? Not so.
Yeah.
I'm not interested.
When's the last time your phone had Mars in it? The Motorola Flip Out.
This is actually a neat phone. Can I tell you a little story?
Yeah.
Early in my YouTube career, I've been making videos for a year or two.
Yeah.
And what I realized was I could just lie and get views.
Are you admitting that you invented clickbait?
I did. Basically, when a phone would get announced, I would just take a bunch of screenshots of the phone and then just talk about it, and that was it. I was like, oh, hey, there's this new phone called the Motorola Flip Out. It looks really neat. Check it out. And no one else was making videos at the time because YouTube was a barren wasteland in 2010. So I just got lots of views. And I remember I did a video on the Flip Out, and I seem to recall it did very well. It was a phone that was great for reading 3 lines of an email or 2 texts on your screen. Other than that, it was completely filled.
A MySpace status was perfect in this.
The Palm phone! The Palm phone! Oh, so cute.
I love the Palm phone.
Yep. Do you know who the only person on the entire face of the planet I will listen to for phone advice is?
Palm?
Nope.
Who?
Why don't you take a guess?
Marquez.
Nope.
No?
No. I don't
Quinn.
listen to Marquez. Nope. Absolutely not.
Does Linus use phones?
Nope, he does not.
I didn't think so.
Steph Curry. The answer is Steph Curry. Steph Curry is the only person on the face of the planet
You
who I will
said
listen to
tech
for phone.
YouTubers.
Yeah, I was misdirecting you. Steph Curry personally endorsed the Palm phone as his favorite device of all time. The idea with the Palm phone is that this was a secondary device. You were really kind of meant to use this alongside a regular smartphone because while it was a full Android device, it had a 3.3-inch screen and it was incredibly small. The battery life was very bad. The processor sucked. Do you think Steph Curry has time to be on his phone? He's got to play basketball. Do you have to go play basketball? I thought so. You need the Palm phone, otherwise you're gonna be on your iPhone 14 being like,
if his endorsement of this thing wasn't just the Palm phone, it's a swoosh.
How much do you think the Palm phone cost if I order one right now on the spot?
$350.
Today? You think so?
Yeah, because they're a collector's item. They've appreciated in value.
All right, I'm gonna do buy it now. I get
If
a
you-
Palm phone
If
here
you
in 2
buy
days.
this for me right now, I will daily this for a month.
right now.
No, why did you actually get this?
I just bought it. Thank you very much for watching. Make sure to subscribe, ringling that ding-a-ling bell, because otherwise, this is where I'm out of money because I keep buying stupid things for videos, and we're gonna get in trouble. I bought this one. I did actually just buy it.
Gonna regret this.